Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Dynamic Duo. And of course, with me, as always, the Bo-Katan to my Dark Saber, Chopper Fett.
How's it going, everybody? Hey, Fletch, how we doing, buddy?
All right, all right. The end of the week is always the best, right? Friday nights and Saturday morning, in my case. Really awesome. I'd like to say hello to the Black Phoenix Entertainment. What's up, brother?
What's up, man?
Good to see you here.
For sure. Yeah, it's been a week. Black Phoenix said it's been a long week. It has been a long week. Work was rough. Didn't get a lot of sleep. It's just been one thing after another, but we made it. It's the weekend. No work, no cares, and 15-degree Fahrenheit. Woo! All right.
Hey. Yeah, then here's the exact opposite. It's summer here every time, and except the fact that it rains a hell of a lot. I don't know why. But here's the funny thing, because it's primarily in Asia, and the Chinese population is pretty big here. Chinese New Year is coming along, and traditionally these guys are really superstitious, and what they say is that just before Chinese New Year, the sun comes out. And true enough, it's been really pretty good the last couple of days. Hopefully it stays this way so I can get some writing done.
You know what's going to happen?
What?
We're going to go for like 2 hours, 2.5 hours, and then the rain's going to hit.
It's just like me washing I know, it's just like me going to wash my bike, right? The moment I take it out, it's like fucking going to rain. Son of a bitch.
You got to keep it clean. Got to keep it rust free. Got to keep all that.
Exactly. So we got a couple of topics today. I know the initial one was about what we would give advice to the new rider, and of course, what advice to give for a new owner who's looking for a new bike. We probably get into that a little bit, and I think Brett, you had a video out on how to choose a new bike, right? Or if you're looking to get a new bike,
sure. Yep.
What are you looking at? So let's talk about that maybe, since we're on the topic. So what advice would you give to a guy who has never owned a motorcycle before?
If you've never owned a motorcycle before,
but you still got a license though, you went for the MS, of course.
Yeah. Well, I would almost say don't do what I did, because what I did was I knew I wanted to ride, but we had just hit, I think it's like late October, so riding season here was dying down, and I decided, this is a good time to buy a motorcycle. I don't know how to ride it, but I know this is I know what cars that are not all-wheel drive sell for lower prices in the wintertime. So I was like, I'm going to see if the same theory applies. And sure enough, found a bike for cheap. Had a buddy come up and ride it for me. He test rode it. He rode it back home for me. So before I even had put any miles, not like even a friction zone 5 inches on it, I had shelled out I think $6,500 for a motorcycle. So here I am out $6,500 hoping I can learn A, how to ride it, and B, I actually like riding it. I don't recommend actually doing it that way. I really think you should shell out the $250 for the course first.
Oh yeah.
But like I kind of said in that video, if that perfect deal comes along, you don't want to be left behind kicking yourself. So it's kind of catch-22. I'm telling you, don't do what I do, but really, if the deal's there, you got to go for it. Because that deal was so good on mine. So I said $6,500 4 years ago for my 09 Dyna. I could get that plus $2 or $3 grand for it, the way the market is right now for those bikes. So I got lucky. I got the deal, not of the century. I'm sure there's better deals out there, but I'm very happy with what I did. But that's the thing, though. I didn't just buy the first one. I was probably looking for a better part of a month. And then my friend, I think he goes by Harley Woods on here, and he kept kind of giving me Craigslist. And this was before I knew about Instagram and Facebook Marketplace and all that stuff. And sure enough, here's this black and orange Dyna just sitting in this guy's garage. I'm like, it has saddlebags. He's like, dude, they're throwovers. You can take them off. I'm like, all right, let's go look at it. And so we went and looked at it. It was like 60 miles north of town. And dude, I sat on it, and it was the first bike I sat on that I felt perfectly balanced on. So that I had that comfort. And when you sit on it, that's when you just know this is the right one. So,
and the added bonus of the fact that, that particular Dyna, that those colors was I think only for one particular year. So you got a Dyna plus a specific paint set that not really many people have, because you see the Dynas like I have, which is blacked out, and maybe have one paint scheme. Yeah. But I think yours is pretty unique. I don't see very many of it, even on the internet, and have stuff like that. So that's the added bonus, I guess.
And that's kind of the hard thing about mine, because the orange on the front fender kind of rusted. So that's why I went with the chopped rear fender and the all blacked out front. But I left the orange and black on there. I still have those two pieces in case I ever want to go back. I could always have the orange maybe airbrushed in or something like that. But yeah, the orange and black. I'm looking at my old tank. Right. It's a 2 year production. I think it was 08 and 09. Right. So I actually have an 08 tank on my 09 because I actually like that tank better. One, I like it better, and two, the other one was damaged. Ding.
Okay. that really hurts, man.
Yeah. And that's another thing about being a new rider, which we'll get into later. This is why you don't necessarily want to have your crown jewel as your first bike. So we'll get to that later, though.
Yeah, that's true. But you're absolutely correct. I think it's important for a new owner. Sure, deals aside. I mean, I was the same. I think we at least most guys are the same. We will do a lot of research, and then we have an idea of the kind of bike that we want, and then we do a hell of a lot of research. And then, of course, the last thing is the deals that they put out, right? And suddenly, oh, shit, I'm not really looking for this bike, but that's a really great deal. And it kind of looks good, and you just, God damn it, just buy it, right? Stuff like that.
Well, history repeated itself in my household, though, because I did it that way. And then we were about this time of year, about 3 years ago, and my wife wanted to ride as well. We had just had our first child, so she was ready to get on and ride finally. And so I knew this is the time of year to find deals. And when you find a 06 Sportster with 12,000 miles on it for $2,500, even if it's an 883, it's a steal. So I rode that home for her in about 25-degree weather, rain with ice, with a bad battery. So if it would have died, we would have been screwed, because he had to jump it to get it going. I was like, this is bad news. But I knew outside the battery, the bike was solid, because it fired up with it being jumped. I was like, okay, it's either going to be the voltage regulator or something simple to fix, battery, and it would just happen to be a battery. So, but yeah, don't necessarily do as I do, but if that right deal's there, do it.
Yeah, do it. You're absolutely correct. And anyway, Sportsters are bulletproof. Normally what's wrong with them is just basically either the starter bits or the battery or what have you. So you can't go wrong.
Had to up the idle just a very little, because he was really running it low. He was running at like 650 RPM as for idle. And it was like, so we cranked it up to about 950. And she purrs now. So I actually rode it today. I actually rode the Sportster today. Yeah,
in the cold, you brave man.
I did. Is the last chance I was going to get to ride for about a week, and I just rode my Dyna the other day, so I put it back on the tender the other day, and it's like, well, the Sportster hasn't been fired up in probably about a month, so I took it out for about 15 miles, and man, there's just something about having all these, different styles of bikes, and got your Sportsters, your Dynas, your baggers. I mean, everything offers a different feeling when you ride it. So
absolutely agree. I mean, I've ridden so many Harleys, and each one of them was a joy to ride. But going back to your original statement, I think it's really important for a new rider to make sure that, number one, you get your license first, right? You can buy your bike and keep it in the garage. In my case, I did a lot of that as well. But here in Singapore, it's mandatory for you to get a license. You have to. If not, you're not allowed on the road. And they break it up into different categories. You going to say?
I was going to say, I mean, you have to have a license here too.
Right.
But there's so many people who run without them because they're scared to, one, either take the MSF course, or two, to even try to pass the exams for some odd reason. And it's just, I mean, I know certain family members, I'm not going to name names, who may or may not have rode with a license or not for a while. But it just took like an instance, like he's like, yeah, I gotta go get my license now, because I could have, if I would have been pulled over, I would have been screwed. So
I understand. I think in the old days for Singapore, when I say old days, it's my time, right? In the 70s and 80s, when you're a young buck and wanting to get a motorcycle, theirs was a little bit different. They had no classifications on licenses and the kind of displacement that you can ride. Basically, what it is you sit for what we call the highway code test, right? So to make sure that you know all the road signs and the rules and regulations, you pass that test. You go for a quick handling course, and then you ride around for a year with an L plate on the side, right? That you're
loser plate.
Loser plate, because you have to ride the small little bike because they don't allow you to ride a big one yet. Right, and then you just ride around for a year to get experience, and then you sit for the physical test of going through all the obstacles and crap, and then they finally give you a license. Bad thing was, in those days, that license covers any displacement, right? So being a hot-blooded young guy, you go out and get the biggest, fastest bike you could get your hands on, and then you can't know how to control it. And a lot of us get into silly shit, right? Me included. First bike was a 750cc, biggest in those days. And then you go racing and stuff, which is not a good idea. Right now, what they do is they break it up into displacements. So class 2B would mean that you can't ride anything over 200 cc's. 2A, nothing more than 400. And then after 2 years of being on the road, finally sitting for the last test, and then you can ride any displacement. But still, to me, 2 years under your belt in an urban environment like this, you don't get much experience anyway.
Right.
So people do get into problems when they get the big bikes.
Right. And you were saying all of Singapore is like, what, 60 square miles or something small?
Yeah, something like that. 74. Yeah. In fact, I think it's about 120 kilometers. Yeah, so about 60. Yeah.
So I mean, you don't, outside of your city traffic that you normally do, you probably don't get much other just riding experience unless you kind of hop countries and take a ferry or something. So
exactly, I'm across the border. In our case, it's just across the border. But most people, they don't think about those things. So it's just like basically basic transport bikes and bikes that they would show off at a Starbucks or something. Everybody parks right in front of a Starbucks just to show off their brand new bike and stuff like that. So the kind of experience you get, and the highways we have here, I don't know, it's just not wide enough, and nobody hits the 65 miles an hour. It's I think traffic's so bad, you're doing 40 and less. That's crazy, right? So what kind of experience can you get from that?
Sure. I mean, actually, though, for a new rider, that's as fast as you probably need to be going for a new rider anyway. But the second you hop the border or whatever, and you can have like a 70, like, you're not going to know what to do if your whole life is going 40 miles per hour. There's a big difference between 40 and 70.
Exactly.
Maybe not as much from 60 to 70, but from 40 to 70, that's a big difference. That's a big wind difference. That's a bunch of different things on how the bike handles at speed. So, right.
Exactly. I think it's a good segue to the next part of the topic, safety and bike handling.
What's up, Roland?
Hey, Roland. What's up? So when we talk about, you're actually correct. So in a sense, when you're practically a new rider, and if you only just about handle 40 miles an hour, and suddenly you really have the freedom when you go across those real big highways, and suddenly you're deciding to go, okay, let's hit the 100-mile-an-hour
Right.
limit, right, and stuff like that, and that's where things start to go wrong,
Right.
right? Because the handling of the bike is different at a lower speed than it is at a high speed, right? So you have
Oh,
to
for
think
sure.
about how the bike handles in terms of road condition. You have to think about how it handles in high winds, right? Like, everybody forgets that. Yeah, you're pushing a 300, 600-pound bike, but the wind's not going to be forgiving when it's hitting you at 120,
Right.
right?
I
So
mean,
there actually is a little give there.
right. I mean, I just rode the other day on the Dyna.
Hmm.
We had probably 30-mile-per-hour sustained with like 40-mile-per-hour gusts. And
Wow.
I hit a clearing. Like, I was like, it wasn't so bad. I was only cruising about 45. So the wind wasn't really a big deal. But then all of a sudden, where this cornfield usually is, well, it's all chopped down right now.
Right.
All of a sudden, just wind. And here I am going, I'm probably leaning like this just so I don't go into the oncoming traffic lane. It's like, oh God, oh God, oh God. And if you're a new rider, do you know how to handle that? I mean, it's crazy how your instincts do kick in, because you're going to have your first time at some point. You just hope it's a controlled time, but we don't always get to pick those times. I actually remember the first time my dad got on the highway. It was we had went to a Harley-Davidson dealership, and there was a confusing roundabout thing right off the highway.
I hate those.
And he was leading, and he took the first exit, and we're on comms. I was like, so guess we're getting on the highway, huh? He's like, shit. So we were on it for 2 miles, and everything was fine. We had plenty of experience. We had ridden at 65 miles per hour. It was just new experience. Now there's cars all around us on the highway type of thing. But I just remember that I was just laughing the whole time, because I'd been on the highway a couple times, so I was okay with it. But I knew his hands might have been shaking just a little bit more than normal on that day. So
yeah, it's a different experience suddenly, even though you'll be traveling at higher speeds, but so is everybody else, right?
Yeah.
And there's going to be a guy that's going to be traveling even faster than you.
Yeah.
So how do you handle the guy trying to overtake you or getting up your ass, right?
Yeah, man. I mean, that's scary, because I remember when I started riding to work, I had to get on the highway for about a 5-mile stretch. Nothing major, but it was 75 and 75 miles per hour. And I'm like, I'm comfortable right now at 70. Early in the morning, my brain's not all there. So 75, that means people are probably driving 85, 90 on this road. And it's early in the morning, just vroom, vroom. Like, oh. So what I do basically in those situations is, if I know I'm being passed a lot of the time, like I would be on that situation, I do tend to hug like on my roads, I tend to hug the right-hand side to give them ample space to get around me. This just, it's kind of like, that was like the instinct's like, well, I know not to be this close to them, but if I have a whole lane and then they have their lane, it wasn't so bad. But yeah, the first time the 18-wheeler passes you, especially with the little wind that comes off of him, because you're riding, it's like, okay, he's passed me. Then all of a sudden it's like the turbulent wind hits you. Then I'm like, oh God, I'm gonna get off on this exit now.
I know what you mean. And then when you're on the highways as well, as much as everybody wants to try to follow all the rules and everything else, but these guys, it's about time and money, right? So I've had 18-wheelers come up my ass, and I'm already doing like 70 miles an hour already, right? And the guy just comes up, and I'm looking at this big son of a bitch, this Optimus Prime coming up my ass, right? And I'm thinking, okay, shit, I've only got one lane to get out of, and it's also full of cars, right? So what the hell do I do? Gun it?
Cars are better than 18-wheeler. So
I know. So it's like I'm gunning before Optimus Prime gets up my ass, right? And it's scary, right? So then if you decide, if you're a new rider and you don't know how to judge or to decide on what to do, chances are you're going to try and get off to the other lane, get out of the guy's way, right? Because you're really afraid now, because you see this huge, you just see the grills on the mirror, right? Because it's that close, and they will ultimately just make the wrong decision. And I think that's really important to think about, because I think it comes to a little bit about the topic that we're talking about, is about road and traffic awareness. And I think a lot of times, even though in our courses here, we do have, as part of the course, a highway ride that the instructors would teach you how to handle yourself on the highway at highway speeds and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But it's a 45-minute course. What can you learn, right? You need a lot of experience to be able to know what to do in a bad situation.
Rolling. Yeah, and that's the tough thing about like the MSF course and even the advanced course that we have here.
Yeah.
You don't get above 20, 25 miles per hour. So what's crazy about that is it's like, okay, here's your certification, go get your license. It's like, is that person, because like if you take like a driver's ed course, they make you get on the highway, they make you do all these other things. I almost kind of feel like they should be like, here's your certification for your permit, come back and we will follow you on our car and we'll make sure you can get on the highway and everything. I really think it should be a different process instead of saying, hey, great, you know how to do some low speed maneuvers, go have fun. I mean, it's almost not a good image, I guess you could say. And
the worst part is he's in the car, right? So depends on you as a rider. And if you're a little bit more cocky or more experienced, chances are you're going to gun it, right? Me. I'm going to gun it, right? And then then you just lose sight of you, and then like, okay, what's going to happen now? Oh God, guys! I put a link in the side chat. Come and join us. Give us your take on some of, and maybe your advice to some new riders. That may be coming in. And
oh wow, look at this guy.
Oh my.
Hey guys.
How's it going? I was wondering which one of you is which.
The real one. Yeah, this one. This one.
Ah, okay.
Look how fancy he is, dude.
Oh my goodness.
That's it. Might as well do some promotion on my own videos whilst I'm in lives.
Right. I'm trying to figure out the best
layout. Kick him out.
I'm trying to figure out the best layout, but I realized that yours is really wide. How do you get that done?
What's that, mate?
Your broadcasts, like
your broadcast, right. It's so early in the morning for me. Your broadcast is pretty wide, though, mate. How do you get that?
I don't know. Maybe it's our Australian internet. Who knows?
But how did you get it set up so it looks like you're behind a desk and in a studio? Is that all just a green screen or what is that?
Yeah, it's green screen. Yeah,
nice, very nice.
Well done, man.
Pretty cool way to do it, I think.
I think so.
Totally agree, and you can do some instructional videos as well, right? With the thing on the side there.
I'm waiting for the news ticker to start scrolling across the bottom with stock prices and everything.
I do current affairs and news. You'll see clips on that, in a bit. But this is a good topic for new riders, all this sort of stuff,
right?
Because I got my son from zero to a competent rider, and the key thing is practice, because it unlike four wheels, riding a bike is very much a body input thing, and it's a skill that you have to develop. And like any skill, if you're trying to function outside of your skill ability, you're going to fail. So, practice all the maneuvers. We initially, I think for about probably the first 3 months after he got his learners, which to get the learners here in this country, it's quite involved. It's not just a matter of getting a piece of paper. there's 2 courses you have to attend, and one's a 4-day course, the other one's a 3-day course. And if you're not competent completely in terms of the adjudicator's eyes, you're not going nowhere. So why are you laughing at my screen there?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not sure where to look. It's you or.
What's up, Mike? Hey,
Yeah.
Mike's in.
Hey, Mike.
How's it going?
Come
buddy?
on in, Mike. I think I don't know if you missed the link. Why don't you just come
I
on
just
in
gotta-
as well?
I have to get the pop-up chat coming up here. But no, for us guys, it's definitely a skill. The more you hone your skill, the more you're skilled at anything. Doesn't matter whether it's riding a bike or even cooking. If you're good at your skill and you've practiced your skill, and the better off you're going to be.
Yep.
Biting off more you can chew is certainly a dangerous thing on a bike too.
Well, let's not forget, you can make a mistake in the car and be okay. The second you make a mistake on your motorcycle, you might still be okay, but you might not be either. I mean, you could hit a curb on your car and you just scrape the rim, you jump the curb, you're still okay. If you do that in the bike, it's a bad day, man. It's a bad day. So you have to be almost flawless to ride a bike. You don't have to be as well to drive, but it's probably what's wrong with a lot of Americans.
I mean, you can
flawed.
a new prospective rider that has heaps and heaps of vision can, absolutely be a fast person around corners and do everything. But all of those things to stay alive and be successful are skills you got to learn. And there are places, especially over here, like we have track days where there's professional races that take people from a learner basically right the way through to a proficient racer. You practice braking in corners, like coming into a corner super hot, being able to brake and turn all with control without panic, all those sort of things. So it's, to me, anybody that's wanting to get into bikes, just understand that it's a skill set that you must learn. And really the size of the bike comes down to the wrist. I mean, if your country allows you to have some, 16-liter motorbike, it all comes down to the wrist.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's America. I mean, as long as you have your endorsement to go get your license. Yeah. Hey, go hop on your 96 cubic inch, which is like what, 1596 cubic inches or cubic centimeters or whatever it is. So
about that, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and that was my first bike was something like that, which looking back, I should have started smaller, but I'm a big guy. I didn't want to look like a monkey on a little training bike. So
yeah.
Rolly, I think you brought up a good point. I think for each bike type that you're in, besides doing the motorcycle courses and practice, but I think we should go beyond that, right? So if you're riding a sports bike, make time to go to a track. But it doesn't mean that you go to the track just to burn rubber and see what kind of bullshit you can get up to. You should be going with a good instructor or someone who's experienced to be able to show you how to handle your bike, because at the track, at least you'll be able to know how to handle that bike in corners and high speeds and so forth. Right?
Yeah, well, if you want to be a real fast rider, which is fine, go to track days and get proper tuition, because you are taught how to approach a corner, all your lines, how to drag your brakes through corner. Because you can apply power and braking at the same time, which creates the same sort of stability as when you're going around a car park. And it's pretty phenomenal. You can come into a corner stupidly hot. And if you've got hard power on and hard brakes on at the same time, your stability is amazing. However, you soon discover the concept of counter steering. You need muscles under those conditions.
Yes, exactly it.
Now, that's one thing I will tell any new rider who happens to watch this: forget counter steering as a new rider, because it will confuse the crap out of you. If you're telling you to push left to go right and all this other stuff, it will mess with your brain. I know I confuse the crap out of my wife.
I agree.
mean, especially when you're first starting. Now, when you can apply the science of it later down the road, it makes perfect sense, like at a track day. Perfectly.
Yeah.
But for a new rider, it's just going to be like, well, he says I have to do this, but I can't. I don't know, should I do this or not? But really, for more general around town riding, your instincts kick in on how the bike should go. I mean, as long as you've ridden a bike as a child. But
in relation to that, I would say you guys are the same as here. Even up in the hills in the twisties, if you see a 25 mile an hour corner and you hit that corner at 25 mile an hour, you don't need counter steering.
Right.
You only kind of start to really acquire counter steering when you're sort of really getting to your limits.
Right. Yep. And it's when you get to your limits where things get dicey. I always like, so I have like my favorite little twisty turn, which they recommend at 35. And if I'm able to get through it at 45 to 50 normally, I know I'm doing a good job of ride. And if I don't have to slow down,
You're a maniac.
It's an in-town sweeping 35. It's you would, Roland, you would take it at like 120 probably. So
look, not generally not on the road, not unless I super know the road. And if I'm going to go hell for leather, I'll go through the path I'm going to go, do a U-turn and come back and then run it again.
Yep. Well, the road that I like, it's my loop that I go on. So I know like every single like crack and everything of that road. So I know I can push it a little bit more there because I've had that experience over and over. But it's always like one of those challenges. Like, can I get there any faster through it? And it's a bad habit, but you know.
But that's the fun factor on bikes.
Oh yeah,
you know,
sure.
And if you do it with experience, it is fun.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If I was still doing this as a new rider, I would be taking that probably 5 under the recommended. And if I'm on an unfamiliar road, even with my experience of 3 or 4 years, I'm either going at that recommended speed or I'm going under it because I don't know what's on the other side of this turn. I don't know what's going on over here. So that's just the cautious rider in me where I don't just trust that the road's going to be there. So
that's true. It happens sometimes anyway, right?
Yep. So if you get me on a group ride on an unfamiliar road and it's full of twisties, I'm not probably be in the back going dog ass slow. But
see what the first guy does, right?
Yeah, exactly.
yeah.
You know, but I think it's still important that as much as possible, try to do a bit of training on the type of bike that you're riding, right? So we talked about going on tracks with sports bikes, and then if you're starting off on a dirt bike, you would probably still join those guys who are experienced on doing off-road and stuff. And which is, I got to give props to BMW because they have certification courses for the different levels, right, of handling their bike, right, which is already pretty heavy, and how to handle it over rough terrain. So if you just want to have a beginner's course to be able to know how how to handle that bike on rough terrain, they have it, and they go all the way up to the Dakar level, right, where you can just take it off into the dunes and stuff. Hey,
I'm just saying, there's good video coming up. This one.
Oh, okay.
This is my solar one.
Nice.
Oh, okay. Nice. So I give props to BMW for doing that, right? And you can walk away with a certificate that says that you're in level 1 or level 2 or Dakar level, stuff like that. And hey, Black Phoenix, what's up, man?
I know during my MSF course, the closest thing we got to off-road was they threw a board down and you had to jump over the board. I mean, basically it was a drill to stand up on the bike and kind of lift yourself up type of thing. But that's as close as we ever got to off-roading in any course that we took here.
Yeah.
How you been, man?
That's great, man.
How's the world of IT treating you?
That was a long week.
Did they not turn the computer on?
Yeah, I watched that video with when you're talking about your first day in IT and the idiots you had to deal with. it took me back 15 years when I first started out in IT, and I was thinking, son of a bitch, there's a lot of people you just want to end up killing because they're just stupid, right? You have a computer, but you just don't know how it works. It's just like giving a key to a car, right? And they've never ridden that car before, and they don't know where to stick that key in.
Yeah, and that cycle just repeats every day. Then the beginning of the next day, like, I don't know where this key goes.
Yeah. But I told you, see this little slot, you stick it in there. Then they forget the next day anyway. Right? And they call on you to just, can you stick this into that hole?
That's what she said.
This is
I didn't go there. I didn't go there.
It's your channel. Right. I can get away with that here.
I know. I didn't go there. Any advice, Black Phoenix, on to a new rider on different types of bikes? I'm sure you've ridden a lot of different bikes in your life. What kind of advice would you give to a new rider?
Yeah, that's a funny thing about the different kinds of bikes, because you wouldn't think that they would be all that different, but once you get on and start moving, you realize, okay, this handles a lot different than what I'm used to.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think that's you've got to have the idea of, you can't just hop on it and just go on the street and the highway. You've got to feel it out in a parking lot for 5 minutes first, and then, okay, now I get how this bike handles. Then go on. I think people get in trouble, like they're going to go from a sports bike to a Harley and be like, I'm just going to ride it, and expect it to be exactly the same or be able to do the same things that they can do on a sports bike. And it doesn't work that way usually.
That 90 per hour curve might not work on that Harley for sure. So you're going to run out of lean or something before anything else. So.
Yeah.
But that's what I actually like about riding different bikes is, you get familiar with them after a few minutes. I remember when I rode my buddy's Breakout, it's like, oh, I'm so nervous. And then, after like that first 5 minutes of kind of, the straight road, you kind of see how it works. You see how it kind of feels the lean. It's like, oh, it's similar, but completely different than what I'm used to. So you still have to be a little cautious and everything. But that's what's great about motorcycles, trike, spiders. It's like, they're all different. Now, I can't compare spider to spider, but maybe you can answer this. How do they handle from spider A to spider B? Like, are they?
Yeah, that's an interesting question.
Yeah, the models are definitely, even though they're similar, they're pretty different. If you went from a touring spider to like the RS, like I have, it handles totally different. And the power bands are actually different too. The RTs are tuned down a little bit, just because that's not what they're for. So some yokel who would hop on one bike then onto the other might find themselves in a predicament if they try to ride it like it was their own. Is that essentially? Right. Yeah, it'd probably take you the first corner to realize, okay, I can't ride this the same. But luckily, the spiders have so many electronics on it. It's really hard to get that far into trouble before it shuts down. You'd pretty much have to panic and not hit the brakes, because it's not going to hit the brakes for you. The stability will keep you straight if you're in a turn, but if you're panicking and not hitting the brakes, then you got a bunch of other problems going on. So for a spider, because every time you're on, I always have spider questions. Like, so like for Harley cruisers, the rear brake is God. It's like, you got to use the rear brake. I mean, how for a spider is the brakes like all in one? Like, does it work more like a car more so than actually a two-wheel motorcycle? Yep, the foot brake is all three wheels. On
okay. Wow.
See, teaching and rolling something new today.
Yeah, well, I've never ridden one. I know a couple of people, not too well, but I ride with them that have got them. But never really sort of spoke much about it.
And it is weird not having a handbrake. So I've hopped on and off from a spider to a bike, and that's the biggest thing that bugs me out is the brakes. So you got to take that initial few minutes again in a parking lot, be like, okay, here are my brakes. Here's getting the muscle memory back. I'm like, this is how I stop on a bike now.
Yeah,
things like that.
It's me on a scooter.
Roland, are you cooking?
Yeah, that's my cooking video.
All right.
If you want to see someone really screw up bacon and eggs, you've got to watch it.
I remember this one. Yeah. But from a spider, from a regular bike to a spider, what advice would you give a new rider to a spider, for instance? Because it's a different kind of bike.
Right. Yeah. If you're coming over from a motorcycle, it's harder than if you were coming from nothing, because you've already got all these traits and muscle memories that you do with a bike that it doesn't translate over to a spider.
Yeah, I'd imagine your brain wants to do one thing, but the spider wants to do something else.
Right. Right. And the biggest thing is it's the braking and how much you can take a corner with a spider. Because I can out corner most bikes in group rides, so I have to kind of give myself this room and give them the room to be able to coast through the corners.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the brakings, I can just stomp on the brake, no problem. In the middle of a corner, no matter what I'm doing, that thing's going to stop and it's going to stay straight or upright, and however I'm leaning it there with all the electronics on it.
See, and I also feel like if you're coming from not necessarily a sports bike, but any two-wheel bike to a spider, it's like you're like, I guess like, I don't really have this image of it, but it's like, this thing has 3 wheels. It's going to be safe. It's going to be easy to ride. You're going to have this overconfidence before you even ride it, and that's kind of a dangerous thing, probably.
Yeah, and that happened. That's why you don't see many spider rentals anymore, because happened in the first few years they came out. They were giving them out to motorcycle rental places, and they just kept crashing them because people they come in with that overconfidence, like, I can just do this, and it's it's so unique that you really need to take that time and have a little bit of training for it in order to get it right.
Exactly. I would imagine that if you're a motorcycle, from a regular motorcycle, 2 wheels, to a spider, I think the most important thing would be knowing how to handle the steering, right? Because the steering will be different, right? The mechanics of steering is different as opposed to. And what would your advice be to new riders who move from regular motorcycles to a trike, and in this case a spider, and handling the kind of steering?
Just take it slow. Right, just coast through the corners at first. Like, I know with bikes, you want to kind of slow down first before you get to the corner. You kind of want to carry your speed through the corner, then get on the throttle as you're coming out of it. If you're doing it, the spider will shut you down either way. Even if you put too much throttle in the corner, the traction control will come in and kick in, and it'll kind of stop you from, taking the corner too hot. But also, if you like whiskey throttle it in the corner, it will snap. Like the rear end will snap back and then try to correct itself, and it'll try to throw you off.
Yeah.
And that's
Can I ask what made you wake up in the morning and go, I want to get a spider?
I was actually having ice cream at an ice cream shop with my family, and 4 of them rode into the parking lot.
Yep.
And I was like, what are these things?
Yeah.
So I walked around them, talked to the guys, and after about like 20 minutes of talk to them, like, I want to try one of these.
Yeah.
So I went, and there was a local course to me, that kind of like an MSF course with spiders that Can-Am sponsored.
Yep.
So that was a 2-day thing. I hopped on them, and I was like, after the 2 days, I'm like, this is great. This is different.
I mean,
unique.
I imagine they're really high on the fun factor, just like a bike, but just in a different way.
Right. Yep. Yeah, they're deceptively quick for what they are. People think that they're slow because they're big and heavy, but they're pretty quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, sure.
Now, you had rode bikes, though, before that, though, right?
Right.
Yeah. And so when you saw these, the 4 spiders, were you still riding your 2-wheel bike at that point, or had you kind of taken a break from it?
Yeah, I was a long break. So I let my license expire, all that, had no equipment. So it was just kind of
fresh start, huh?
Fresh start with the spider.
That's probably a good thing, because that muscle memory was probably.
Oh, yeah. I started from scratch.
So that's cool.
Well, that's what I say. It's so much easier if you've never ridden a bike before at all to just jump on a spider and start going, because it's all new to you.
So obviously, a spider's classified as a motorcycle license type operation, isn't it?
In the U.S., it's weird. It's state to state.
It's state to state.
It is.
Right.
It's very strange. It's not a federal thing. It's in my state, Massachusetts, it's a motorcycle. In Rhode Island and Connecticut, you can just do it on a regular car license.
Wow.
So
jeez.
It's really weird. Yeah.
Hell.
Because they think just anyone can do it. So if you got, if you can drive a car, you can drive a spider. Well,
yeah. More and more states are learning that.
No,
not good.
You can drive a car, you can't drive a motorcycle. No.
Right, because you're still I still have all the same problems motorcycles do. You're still exposed to the elements. You got no cage around you. You still got people who don't see you. It's those things that you still got to learn.
No heater, no demister, no wipers.
Nope.
Yeah. Don't. I mean, to me, I really don't. Okay, they can't see us. I understand. They can't see a spider. They're goddamn blind, and they should be taken off the road.
Hell yeah.
Take off their license. Yeah. Sorry. I mean, if they can miss a bagger and they can miss a spider, they're legally blind. Yeah. Take them off the road. Sorry. Dynas. Okay, maybe we're smaller.
Here's a question. Here's a question for a spider owner. Here's a question for a spider owner. Okay, you got your braking deal. So obviously the braking on the three wheels, it's weighted more to the front than the rear, I would imagine. So naturally, it'd be not too dissimilar to a car to do burnouts. Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's very easy for me to do burnouts, brake stands.
Oh, that's all right.
I love the way your mind.
I'm getting motivated with this now.
I love the way your mind works, mate.
I got some videos up there. You can search through some of my videos of me doing some burnouts with that thing.
I have.
Yeah.
Which is good. Yeah.
That's where that thing came from. I remember one of those as well. I was thinking, burnouts on spider. Oh my God.
I'm thinking I like this guy.
Yep. And I got it. One of the big ones is me pop it into second during a burnout, and it kept going. So I'm like, all right, fine. I'll just keep giving you gas and see how long this thing burns out.
Keep going. Yeah. No, that sounds fair. Yeah.
Excellent, man. Good day. Good day. Outback Outlaw. Good day, mate.
Outback.
Hey, how you going, guys?
All right, mate. Good, man. Yourself?
Yeah, good, mate. Just thought
I still got a question to Black Phoenix. Yeah. Hey, great that you could come in, mate. I'm happy that you could.
Yeah. I'm just going to get a new gaming chair for my studio, so you guys keep talking.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome, man. Black Phoenix, sorry.
Yes.
Obviously, there's a weight thing to this. I can't imagine what is the total weight on the spider.
The RS is about like 780 pounds, I believe.
780 pounds. Okay.
So that's small, but it's about bagger.
Yeah. So the touring ones with all the storage and everything are much over 800. But
what's that in English?
That is English.
That's about 400 kgs.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's about the same weight as an Ultra Classic. About Ultra.
Yeah.
The Ultra,
like
right?
That.
So it's about 400 kgs, which is about the limit for the roads here. Yep. And the reason why I brought that up is because when I rode the Street Glide, the first thing when I got onto it was trepidation, right? The thought of now you're moving half a ton.
Yeah.
That's why it translates for us, right? When you bring it down to
which wants to go straight in a corner.
Yeah, right. So what will be your advice to new riders who are handling or maybe experienced but new to this bike in terms of weight?
Well, it's really strange because maybe it's just me because I've had it for so often. I don't really feel it anymore.
Right.
Like the first couple of corners you feel, you're like, okay, it does lean a little bit. The suspension on the front will kind of lean with the corner depending how fast you're taking it. But after a while, it just becomes natural, just like with the two-wheeler with your lean. So.
Okay.
Excellent.
Like, they're not chain driven on the rear end, are they? Or they a shaft rear end, like a diff?
It's a belt driven one.
It's belt driven. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, the Rikers are actually shaft driven.
Right.
So the pickup will be a little bit different, right?
Yeah. That's also a CVT on the Rikers. It's a totally different drivetrain setup.
Yuck.
Right.
Not a big fan of CVT.
Yeah, I haven't personally driven one, but I know people have just said it's weird.
I know when you throw a car up against a wall and floor it, it just sits there and does nothing and hemorrhages. So I imagine a bike wouldn't be much different.
Is it really Canadian?
Yeah.
Oh wow! Hey,
I'm out.
All hail
I'm out.
Canada.
I'm out.
All hail Canada.
You're out.
All hail
no,
Canada.
that's not good.
No, just kidding.
Outback, mate. What would be your take on to the new riders, and what would you advise them to take note of? if you're going to start riding this crazy thing called a motorcycle?
Don't ride backwards.
Good advice.
I have to park my bike in the garage because my driveway's downhill, so I got to hook in and go back, and it's not fun.
Yeah,
Not
unless
fun.
you're watching Tenet, right? If you finish watching Tenet, then you just want to go backwards anyway. If you watch that movie.
If you're a new rider, I agree with Chopper Fett. Don't worry about counter steering unless you've been a good push bike rider and you've used counter steering for road racing and stuff like that. Which I've been in triathlons for a long time, and I use counter steering in the road leg on the ride.
Yeah.
Particularly when you were going around others and you had to do it quickly. But if you're a new motorbike rider, I wouldn't even go there because it just screws you up, something chronic.
So, sometimes less is more when you're starting out, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
Can I just jump in here and ask Outback a question?
Yeah, no.
How's the blood pressure?
Hey?
I haven't taken it the last few days, Roland. I've got it here.
Has
take
it been all
today.
right?
I don't know. I haven't taken it. I haven't keeled over, so I'm still alive.
No, that's good.
You hear, man? That's the most important thing. Yeah. Roland's widescreen is screwing me up because I'm trying to get everybody up closer here, and I cut him off. Right, so I'm like trying to figure out the best way to do this, and
that's all right.
Yeah.
I'll have to. I'll give you something. There you go. How's that? There's Kev.
Yeah. Then the perfect person to be in because you've done a lot of motorcycle training videos, and obviously you have been a motorcycle trainer or instructor, right? So
yeah.
What are the kind of things that you advise new riders, in terms of when to getting a new bike or getting on a new bike? What would you advise new riders?
Well, first thing is take the course.
Of course.
Absolutely take the course. And then, you know what? I always say don't get a bike that you can handle, that's not too heavy.
Exactly right.
I have told older guys that like a Honda Shadow is a good bike because it's only 40 horsepower and they look big. They look like a it doesn't look like you're riding a 250.
right.
Yeah. Right.
And it's a safe, I think it's a safe way to start. Because it's not a terribly big or heavy bike.
Is it about a 650 motor? Is that right on those smaller end of those?
750, I think.
Oh, 750. Okay.
Yeah, but they're only 40 horsepower. Like they're not very
torquey,
powerful.
No, they look
actually
cool.
Yeah, actually, the question I would like to ask is that we've already had some from Australia, and of course, we know what the United States is in terms of licensing, and Singapore as well. Do you have a displacement restriction in Canada, or you just get a license and you get the biggest guy that you can get your hands on?
You can get it's a graduated license here, so
okay.
You can get a when you get your license, technically you could go and buy a Busa.
Okay. Wow.
That's the smart thing to do.
Isn't
that's
that
what I would do?
Yeah.
But,
Impress the girlfriend. Yeah.
But they won't insure you. So you'll have a really hard time getting insurance. And if you do get insurance, it'll be so expensive, it'll cost more than the motorcycle.
Okay.
So
that's a good point.
like here, anything 750 and under is considered cheap. Like for as far as insurance goes. But above that, anything, and the bikes that are in the 600 class that are
sorry.
It's three of them now. So
there's all these guys.
One. Now there's three Rolands.
Yeah. God, that makes me laugh. I gotta put my hand over him so he doesn't freak me out.
Yeah,
But
you're saying?
the 600 class, the ones that are the really fast ones, they know what they are, and they won't insure them the same as the bigger bikes.
Wow.
Hey, I
know.
See this here on my lip? Do you see how I got a mark right there?
Yeah, and your chin as well.
Yeah, you know what that's from?
No.
I'll tell you. Remember a little while ago, you guys saw my video on how to lose a drone?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, I found the drone, and I made it go, and I was sitting with my face over it, and it came up and it hit me in the face.
Oh, no. Not good.
Please tell me there's some video of this somewhere coming someday. Oh.
I was on a live stream showing look at I got my drone back, and then I said, look, it even works, and I turned it on and it came up and it hit me right in the face.
So this actually happened live? It happened on a live stream?
It did.
Oh, that means it's out there for us.
Well, but no, it was on it was a MS or whatever, like the Facebook Live.
Okay. Look for it. Yeah. Okay. I thought it was your regular Sunday ones. Oh,
no.
Anyway,
I was getting so excited.
Yeah, I know. So you guys didn't know that spiders are Canadian made? Come on.
Oh man.
No, what's it all about?
No. I never really asked. I thought it was a great super bike. I'm just spending so much time staring at it when guys ride into the car park or even at the dealership, right? Because we have one guy that I know. He rides a Harley and also owns a Spider. Yeah. So he's with the Spider group. So one day he pulls in with like 10 spiders and like, okay, that's a really nice bike. We were looking at it and asking questions. We were all real curious about it, and everybody wants to try to get on. I didn't want to get on because I was afraid that I'm going to run into the ditch or something, right? And we never thought about asking, where was this made?
Yeah. Well, just look at it. It looks like a snowmobile.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. It's a snowmobile on wheels.
Basically.
Who else would make it?
This reminds me of the Michael Keaton thing,
So since it is Canadian and it does look like a snowmobile, can you take the wheels off and put snowmobile tracks on it?
Yes, you can.
No. Can you?
Wow.
There's prototype kits to do that.
That's
seen
pretty cool.
I don't think there are any of them are in production, but yeah, there've been people trying.
Nice.
That's cool.
I hear they're really popular, like in the southern states too, with people who like jet skis and things. It's the same sort of feel.
It's funny. They share a lot of the same motors and some of the components there.
Yeah. I know it's big here for whatever reason. It's just getting a car park space or getting parking space is a pain in the ass, right? Yeah. But because here it's pretty limited, but it's really very popular, and it's really interesting to see a lot of them on the road. More so than even the Harleys, which is weird because I think in Singapore, all those guys who ride Harleys are goddamn weekend warriors. Pictures, especially when it rains, nobody gets out except for me. That's why my bike is in the bed.
That's that skill set showing through.
Yeah.
No, man, that's just because that's the only ride I've got, right? So,
right.
So what they will do is get on a little scooter on a rainy day and get to where they want to go. If it's just to the shops or market, right? But for me, I ride my bike everywhere. I got rid of my car.
Yeah.
I could. To me, it's a waste of time and money as far as I was concerned, right? Having a car, because at the end of the day, I hated it anyway. I just hate driving a car. It's just boring, man.
Well, right now I have a huge snowstorm outside, so motorcycle would suck.
Yes. In here, there's just the weather is just not worth it.
No.
I know. I saw the meme of yours, goddamn grass cutting on the snow. That was so funny, man.
I thought it was funny too.
Well, let's get on to the next topic. Why don't we? Since we've talked enough about new riders and bikes, what advice would you give to a new owner or someone looking to get a new bike? what advice would you give these
Me
guys?
or who?
I think Black Phoenix commented on this, was like, get an inspection before you actually purchase it. Not so much you need it on a new motorcycle purchase, but for anything used, unless you have a good service history and you know enough about bikes that you could fix something that goes wrong, get an inspection. I know I said in my video, make the guy pay for it. That may or may not happen, but you know, if he's willing to at least allow you to get it inspected, have him write it there. You pay your $200. It's $200 for peace of mind. And then, you know, if it turns out to be a crap thing, you know, at least he knows now there's some shit that needs to be fixed on this thing before I sell it. But yeah, and if they don't allow you to get an inspection or they don't allow a test ride, walk away. I mean, just walk away. There's other bikes out there.
I think it really depends too on the mileage on the bike too. Like my son and I, we went down to Hamilton. He wanted to buy a Ninja 300, and it was brand new. It was brand new. Okay. So we went and looked at the bike, but it was in, I'm not going to say winter time, but it was past riding season. So like late fall. And we got down there, and the young guy who owned it also had a 5-liter Mustang. And he'd lost his license with the 5-liter Mustang driving too fast. Wow. And so he couldn't afford the insurance on the bike. And when we looked at the bike, it had like 506 kilometers on it. Wow, nothing. Yeah. No. So we loaded it in the back of my pickup truck. We took it home. Nice. And he got it a lot cheaper because the guy was desperate to pay his fines.
He had legal fees. Yep.
Exactly. Have you ridden it?
Oh, I wrote it. Yeah, I wrote it.
Yeah, they're good. They're good fun, those, aren't they?
Oh, yeah. You know what? And lots of power. Like, he doesn't have that bike anymore, but we took it down to Sandusky, Ohio, and back. Like from from here in Ontario, we went to the Six Flags place, you know, and went on all the roller coasters. But we rode all the way there and all the way back, and he kept up fine with me. You know, and the thing that gets me is everywhere we would stop, no one cared. Nobody did it. Oh yeah, everybody goes, wow, look at
that. Yeah.
Is that a super spikes? Is that super sport? Yeah, sure. As long as the badge of 300 was on there, you're fine.
Right. Yeah.
Put some 650 badges on there, you get all the ladies.
Yeah, that's right.
The R3s and the Ninja 300s, they're both really good start-off bikes.
Yeah. Definitely.
Oh, and what a nice bike to ride! Like it was very, very peppy for a little 300.
They're light as all get. They're only like 420 pounds or something.
Oh yeah.
And even when you get a big fat ass like me on there, it still worked okay.
I don't know, Kev. We never seen you stand up and turn around. So.
Oh, trust me, it's a big fat ass.
Well, that's a worry.
Roland, what about you? What would you advise a new person looking for a motorcycle? He's changing his background again. You know,
he's a wizard.
He's a wizard at this thing. You know,
looking for what I don't know. I mean, like there's the sort of start off cruiser bikes and there's the start off sport bikes. So it really whatever takes your fancy. You know, you either go one way or the other. So yeah, it just. Start off on the low power and work on your skill set rather than anything else. You know, once you got your skill set up, then you can, and by then you have a way better idea of what it is you're really after. So yeah, like I say, there's both. Like I say, for the beginner sport bike people, there's the R3s or the Ninja 300s, and for the for the cruiser style, you've got your Hondas, you've got your Yamahas, you've got your Harleys, you've got all of them in the cruiser style as well. So it just really depends on what sort of animal you're after.
Exactly. So when you were spider shopping, Black Phoenix, did you buy new or used?
I was used.
Used?
Yeah. They're really expensive, eh? those
That's
spiders.
part of the reason too. Brand new ones are probably as much as a nice car, so I decided to go used.
Well, I guess that's a typical Harley too, for the most
I
part.
was just going to say that you can,
Yeah,
if
that's
you want
true.
to compare prices, they're on par with Harley prices. So,
But
It is.
the tech is way above. I'm not dogging Harley here for anyone watching, but but the tech that's in a Spider is really good, right?
yeah, that's very technologically advanced.
Flush 'em.
Yeah, spin around in a circle, Roland.
Let's flush him down, right? Oh my god!
Oh, that's funny.
I lost my
Well,
train of thought.
it's warm here. It's just like a little spa, you know.
No. Like I see some steam coming out. Is it from the book? It's from the little brown bits, or
Yeah, hang on.
I don't want to see the woman.
yeah.
Who uses, I don't want to see the woman who uses that toilet, though. I mean,
Yeah.
if she pooped out a Roland,
I got a question for you guys, just an aside,
right?
because we got a couple of Harley guys up there. What do you think of the new Harley getting rid of the hydraulic clutch and going backwards and going to a cable clutch?
I've heard a lot of people are happy about it.
I'm not.
I'm just saying what I've heard. I personally can't comment which one's better than the worst, because I've always had just the old school style, but I've never had a problem with it. I thought it was weird that they changed it to begin with, but I don't know. Fletch, can you speak more to that?
Yeah. Okay. So to me, I've ridden the Street Glide with the hydraulic with the hydraulic clutch. Yeah. And I think the bottom line was just like when they had the fly-by-wires, they were having issues. Harley has never been known to innovate, right? They're always trying to catch up with technology.
Sure.
And when you're looking at the style of bike that they have, when they try something new, just for whatever reason, I think the engineers weren't up to that level. They're the old school guys, right? All the cable clutch guys and all the carbureted stuff. And the moment you start putting ECUs, EFIs, and then now the hydraulic clutch, because then you're adding more components to it. And I think in the initial first launch, they were having a lot of problems. Plus the fact that bottom line is cost. It costs a lot more than putting in the cables. To me, I think if you're doing long distance or you're stuck in traffic, hydraulic clutches are going to save you a lot of trouble. I know for sure, right? Because it's really hard on the hands with the cable clutches. So to me, I think their reasoning was that I know that for a fact that they will add it in the parts and accessories to have the option, but I think they want to fix it first before they reintroduce it back again, because they know well enough that, number one, people do like it better than cable, obviously. Just like the fly-by-wire, now you do still have fly-by-wire. They've managed to fix that. Mm-hmm. But don't forget, that's just additional components on a simple bike, that they have to worry about. I may or may not agree on that, but unfortunately, that was the direction they're going, and I think it's about cost as well, to be fair.
Yeah. Well, it's too bad, because I think they're you pay a premium price for a bike and then they go back in technology seems backwards to me, but
I can see that. Well, then if you buy a new motorcycle, just make sure it's from like 2017 to 2020. Then you don't have to worry about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, I see what you're saying though about the whole, it's like they're taking one step forward, but then they took two steps back on some things. So,
yeah, it doesn't make sense to me.
I think the idea behind that is that I think they just want to get it right, because they were having some problems, and for whatever reason, I think also to be able to fix it, they need to make sure that they had qualified engineers. I think the way Harley works is that they have their own university, so to speak, for all the engineers, and they have training. And the same thing for even when we're here, they literally fly down a certified instructor, mechanic, or what have you, to come down and train everybody in all the bikes. And that before COVID, we were actually sending people up to Milwaukee to learn how to service the bike well and fix stuff and so on and so forth. So again, I think it's not helping that you don't have trained people that be able to handle all the problems, whether it's fly-by-wire, whether it's the EFI, ECU, and so forth.
Like, so my brother has a 17 Road King Special. I think it's like, it might have been the first year that they went to the hydraulic clutch. And I know he developed the issue, so he had to get his part of the recall. He was without a bike for 3 months during riding season. They got it fixed in like October or something like that. So
Wow.
I mean, because they say you can technically ride it, but we strongly recommend you don't, because something could go really bad if you do. So he basically just sat on the bike for 3 months until because this is also when they couldn't get the parts in, because we've identified the problem, but now we're going to have a shipping supply on getting the parts to all the dealers to get it fixed. So it was a fiasco. And again, I don't know if they got it better in 19 and 20, but that was, I know, not a good experience for someone who just dropped $22,000 on a new motorcycle. It's like, well, yeah, this is great. I put 3,000 miles on the bike. You're telling me I can't ride it? Great. So he went and bought a Dyna.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, at the end of the day, they were having problems for every time that they released something new. I think they weren't prepared logistically if there were problems or not, and I think they're learning from it. But again, that was the previous management anyway. They're deciding now that before they launch anything new, that it has to be working, and logistically they have to have all the things to support it, right? Otherwise, in the old days when they had a recall, I remember on my Softail, they had a problem with the springs and the front fender, right? It was the first time they put out. I bought the first Crossbones. I don't even remember that one. The last of the springers for the Softails, and they were pretty quick in changing it, right? Because they had years of knowledge on front end springers and stuff like that. They've had that tradition, so it's easy for them to do that. But if the moment they push in new technology, just like the fly-by-wire, my friend had a brand new Road Glide, and it was the first year that they introduced fly-by-wire. Less than 2 weeks, everything broke down. He couldn't even throttle up. He had no power whatsoever because of the electronics. It wasn't talking and everything else. And same thing, he was out. It's that cold. And same thing, it's like, I think he was out 2 months. He couldn't ride. You know, the only good thing about being in Singapore is the fact that we had good weather all around. So it's not like missing out riding season and stuff like that. So we don't have riding seasons here. So it didn't really bother him that much. Plus the fact that he had another Harley anyway, you know, but it just sucks that something didn't work and they weren't prepared. So I think they're learning from all of that. And hopefully with the new CEO, things will change, right? And yeah, I mean, you're right. I think they should put back the hydraulic clutch.
Yeah.
And the way it's supposed to be, you know.
That's what I think. That's what I think.
They will. I mean, there's a lot of people who have who are asking for it, you know, and because of that, there may be some how do I put it? Pull back on the tourists, because suddenly, you know, you're going back to the old school. You're paying, especially if you decide to buy a CVO, it's $110,000 here, right? Wow. And you spend with tax and everything else. Which, you know, the Canadian dollar to Singapore, I think you're about $1.10 to a Canadian dollar in Singapore. So you can imagine you're going to be paying almost $100,000 for a CVO here.
Now, to keep in mind, that's not the list price. That's just price after your insane taxes.
Isn't
that right?
No. This is after taxes and everything else, and this is on the road with insurance and everything else of $120,000.
Yeah, and a CVO here is about 55,000.
Yep. And
You go to Canada.
Canada.
And states they're 40 to 45, I think, is their range in the state. So
We're more expensive than they are in the States.
yeah, I think that's just the exchange rate probably for Canada to US is whatever the difference is. But.
And then you put 30,000 on tax here. No, seriously.
Your government must be rolling in the money.
That's why they're so rich and
Oh,
they're
there's-
giving, you know.
There's
giving out
15%
money.
tax here, so there you go.
Yeah, we have so many tiers, so many taxes. It's a luxury tax, basically. You know, they consider Harleys and BMWs and the rest of the other bikes, and Spiders included, as a luxury bike. You know, the cost of a Spider here, I think the base model is something like 60,000.
Oh my god, that's like double of what it is over here.
Exactly, and that's just a base model, mind you.
55,495 here, brand new.
Yeah, so that will mean 70,000 here, right? If you're talking about the RTs, it's probably much more.
Yeah, the RTs are.
Wow.
Right, so it's just luxury tax.
And I'm proud to be an American.
Yeah, I think there were 15 grand here.
I'm gonna move to Canada.
Yeah.
It's cheaper there.
I'm
Yeah,
just going
that's
to
what
go.
you
I'm just going to go and have smoko, guys. Back in a minute.
Yeah, no worries, man. I'm joining in a bit.
Fly into Alaska, take the land bridge across to Asia, drive it on down. There you go. Save yourself some money.
Exactly. Because I still have my eye on a bagger. Because ultimately, I want to go far without having to strap on too much shit, you know, and be able to have the tank capacity and everything else. But it's just way too expensive. The brand new Road Glide Special is coming in at about 75,000.
I think you need to look in the used market, buddy.
Yeah. Actually, I am. I'm looking at the 2018 Street Glide. And that's
actually-
going to cost me 30,000.
That actually brings me to a question. Since these new bikes are obviously you have this luxury tax that you're having to pay, like in Monopoly. If you buy a used secondhand bike,
Right.
like a Road Glide or whatever, do you still have to pay that luxury tax, or is
No.
it?
It's paid for already.
Yeah,
It's paid for already. So the previous sucker had to pay for it.
that's a heck of a depreciation then. If you're having to
It
factor
is.
in all that,
It is. I mean, think about it, right? I was just looking at this pre-owned, and it's pre-owned by Harley, mind you. Right? It's not pre-owned by somebody else that's been riding on the road. They're just basically using it as their demo bike and stuff like that. So originally, it would cost about 50,000. So they've paid the tax, and I could get it for about just under 40,000, about 38,000.
Wow.
it's a lot of money.
I know. Yeah, I know. But
Just think it's like, man, I could have like 3 cars. I could have 5 motorcycles. I could have a lot for $38,000.
and the bummer is a 107, not even a 114. So that's kind of putting me back, you know, not getting it. But
I was looking at a V-Rod that was in really, really good condition with low miles.
Yeah.
And it's at a dealership not far from where I am, and they're asking 8,700.
For what year?
2005.
Ooh.
how much was it?
8,700.
8,700 for 2005 with steel, man.
It's
Steel?
blue,
right?
It's blue.
No.
It's really cool.
I mean, I think if you shop around, so the one I found from my dad, which I'm trying to take from him, that one we found a 2012 10th anniversary edition. So it's the muscle.
Right.
I think we paid he paid 6,500 for 2012 with about 10,000 miles on it. So I think you have to find the right seller
Yeah.
How many miles were on that one, Kev?
I think 20,000 kilometers. So
Okay.
It's 15,000 miles.
yeah.
15,000.
15. That's
12 to 15,000.
stupid
Yeah.
things. And you said it was a blue color.
Blue, yeah.
See, I know like the blue is kind of a rare color though. So
It was blue. It was a really pretty looking bike. Like,
did it have the gold frame, or not the gold frame, the silver frame, or
yeah? No, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the picture again. It's still on my thing. I was looking at it. I always like looking at them because they seem to be the cheapest bikes you can get around here if you're looking for a Harley.
Oh, really?
Is a V-Rod. A V-Rod are the cheapest, or a Sportster. But
Okay, that's strange because
kind of surprises me because
yeah,
here, I mean, like I said, we found the steal of the not century, but really a good deal on ours. Most of the V-Rod prices, like the one that you just mentioned there, are about the norm. It's just after I saw that one, it's like I would never, I can't pay more than that now that I know what you can get one for if you find around. I don't know. I mean, what year did you say it was again?
They're not really popular here.
They're not popular here either. That's what I love about them. Here, they're my brother classified them as girls' bikes. Like when I first started, I know.
one of the Sportsters, right?
I know.
Nothing
But-
girly about it.
No. So here was the thing. When I first had interest in it, that was the bike that I wanted, was a V-Rod. He's like, nah, it's a girl's bike. I'm like, what do you mean it's a girl's bike? They use girls in their advertising. It's a girl's bike. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's your rationale that it's a girl's bike? It's the fastest Harley ever produced, and that's your rationale?
Got a portion.
Yeah, it's a girl's bike. Well, now, and I've been giving him a little crap about this. On the launch event on the new Road King, guess who's riding it? It's a female.
Oh,
So
yeah.
his bike is now a girl's bike. But no, yeah, I guess it kind of depends. Also, the exchange rate kind of messes me up there too, Kev. So your 88,000 that you're paying up there is probably close to 6 here. So it's probably about on par.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
I think our dollar is about I don't know. I think it's around 79 cents to the US dollar.
Yeah, I don't know how exchange
it's
rates
about
work.
there.
I'm dumb.
So it's actually close to 6,500 actually. But the thing is that I think a lot of these guys don't realize that these are collector's items, right? It's been discontinued for almost 10 years now, right? And it's really hard. The V-Rod.
I thought they made them in 2017, didn't they?
That's a muscle.
Which one?
The V-Rods, the one that your dad has, actually, that particular. No, your dad's a muscle. The ones that who's this? The Wolverine guy rode in X-Men 1.
Okay,
right?
the first,
yeah. That particular look and that particular styling, is actually more than 10 years already.
Yeah, I mean,
right?
that was what,
and they discontinued.
3, I think it was on that one.
Yeah, and then I think in they discontinued it in 2010 or something, and then after that it was just the muscle, and then done. Right. So as a collector's item, I think they don't realize that, and maybe the demand is a little bit different in Canada and United States and maybe Australia, but here, for some strange reason, we have guys that love collecting one of a kinds, right? And luxury, and classic bikes, they call them, right? And you wouldn't be surprised. I have a friend who owns one of the first V-Rods that came out, pure silver, right? Beautiful looking bike.
Yeah.
And every time he goes on a ride and he parks it on at the car park or something, goes somewhere, comes back, there's always a piece of paper on it and someone's trying to offer him money for it, and good money for it, mind you. He once showed us, he kept the piece of paper and showed it to me once and said, hey, this guy's a stupid idiot. He's asking for $30,000 for this bike. I don't think it's even worth that. Right?
Hey, Kev, you should fly down to Kansas City. I got one for you. No, seriously.
Did you know what? You can't? I can't.
Yeah, just fly down to Kansas City. It's a dark blue 2012 V-Rod muscle with 3,400 miles on it, and it's $8,700.
Well, that's okay.
No,
Geez, that's all right. Wow.
Yeah, but that's 87 US dollars.
Well, so
that's a lot more. 10 grand.
well, yeah, might as well, right? Shell out all that money. No.
And you know what? Right now, I couldn't anyway. We're not allowed to fly.
Oh yeah.
That's still going on. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Well, just buy it and put it on a train.
I'll
and send
ship it
up.
to you. Yeah, there you go. Have you ridden a V-Rod yet, Kev?
No, but I rode a Honda Magna for years, so I have an idea.
I love it. Let's put it that way. Like I really do want one. Really badly.
It is not. I don't think it's unlike the Honda Magna that I had for years. Like my Magna was as a 2001 that I bought in 2001, and I owned it until 2016. And I had it and the Harley at the same time, and then I just didn't drive the Honda anymore. But it was like, oh my God, it was fast. Like it just, it was a tame little beast when you drove it around. But if you gave it some throttle, I mean, it redlined at 10 grand.
Yep.
And it's a V4. It had 100 horsepower. It was,
that I'm looking at it right now, dude. That was a sharp little bike.
Yeah. They're nice. Yeah.
They're different in the corners though. Like did the Magna have a big rear or not? Like rear tire?
Yeah, pretty decent size. Yeah.
All right. That's the only weird thing I found with it is it handles fine. It handles a lot better than you think a 220, 240 rear would actually handle, which is actually pretty nice. But yeah, man, go ride one. You might go ahead. You'll go ahead and shell out that $10,000 to come down.
No, I think I'd like it because I think that it wouldn't be something that would be unusual to me because I rode a bike that's very similar to that for a long time.
Yeah.
Like it's a cruiser style bike that goes like snot.
Yep.
Yeah. It's neat.
It's fun when you can break the rear tire loose on a cruiser motorcycle.
I used to do it
like Roland's that he has in his background back there. I know he can do that.
Yeah, first, second, and third.
Yeah.
Yep,
I had to be careful if there was a manhole cover that I wouldn't be accelerating when I went over the manhole cover because it would spin the wheel.
Yeah, I think though before I would buy it, like I want to also ride the M109R. I think they're very comparable bikes. I love the styling of the Suzuki, man. It's gorgeous, and the V-Rod's gorgeous. It's just I love muscle cruisers a lot.
I love VMAX. Oh, those are
yeah, they're good.
Talk about stupid fast.
Yeah, but they don't handle worth a crap. Like both the Harley and the Honda and the Kawasaki all corner better than the than the VMAX. The VMAX is got too much to the back wheel. Like it's stupid fast. It's like insane fast. It's great if you're going straight.
Sure.
Just don't try and turn.
It's a drag bike. Yeah, that's what it is.
The stupidest thing I ever saw, I went down to Friday the 13th. It's a motorcycle gathering that we have. It's the biggest one we have in Ontario. And there was a guy there who had a VMAX and he had nitrous on it. And I was with I was riding along. I pulled up beside him when I had my Magna, and he gave me the thumbs up because we're kind of the same. Right. He goes. I said, so you got the nitrous hooked up? And he goes, watch. And he pulled off and he hit the nitrous bottle and the back end went.
Makes you ask the question why.
Yeah.
I think the answer is fun.
Yeah.
Did you have a parachute on the back?
But the thing is stupid fast without nitrous. You don't need that.
Right.
And what is that one Spider that you can get? What is the really fast one?
There's the newer ones. It's the FS3.
I think I saw a bike show.
Yeah, it's got the 1330 motor in it, and it lets you turn into sport mode and turn off some options to get it to go up a little bit faster. So
that'd hoot. Yep.
Now, am I wrong in saying that those things have like a traction control that won't let you like spin the back wheel and stuff and tilt them over? And
Yeah, it's got all the electronics on it. But if you push enough power to it in a power brake, I can get mine to break loose. It's more what I've found good. I can do a burnout in a straight line or from a just sitting there doing a brake stand.
Yeah.
As soon as you start moving and turn the handlebars, that's when it shuts you down because it thinks you're turning and it thinks it's drifting, and all the sensors kick in.
Okay, so if you went into a corner way too hot, it would kill it.
Yep, it would start to power down and do what it has to do to get you to straighten out or slow down.
Well, that's a little unnerving. Oh man.
But yeah, I've read some guys have been messing with the sensors on them and just trying to bypass a lot of that stuff, and they've actually made it worse. So,
Really?
I can imagine that.
Yeah, because I think you need it, but I think there's a level where it's too much, and then you got to find out what's enough for it to be fun, but still, not try to kill you.
Oh, we got Jarvis Bikers in the house.
Hey, Jarvis, how's it going, man? Listen, let me just put a link there and hop on in. Come and join us. It's doing stuff here.
Yeah.
Anyway. Yeah. Ooh. Oh, yeah. He's changing out his battery. I was just thinking, what happened there? Anyway. So, Kev, let's go back to the topic.
Yeah. We were going on about all kinds of things.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I know we had Black Phoenix's opinion about getting pre-owned or new. You think that we should get pre-owned, right?
Right. Yeah. Especially here. There's a big sports bike scene here, and these bikes are dropped all the time. So, and I've seen someone with a brand new bike come and just try to do a wheelie and just drop it, in front of everybody. Just you spent so much money on this brand new bike, it looks beautiful, and you just
understand that.
Scraped it. But the other thing is why I said get inspections, things like that, because there are a lot of stunt bikes going around with no titles. They've been dropped, they've been wrecked,
right?
And you can tell. You can look at the front forks in the bike. They're doing wheelies and they're crashing down on the front forks, and you can almost see the damage on them and the oil leaking out of them, and just those little things you just got to look for when you're looking for a bike.
I don't know, in the States, would they allow you to bring a licensed mechanic to check it out, or do they? I don't know.
I think it depends on where you're getting it from, really, and state by state. Yeah, it's kind of iffy on that, and just from personal experience, if you're trying to do it from a one-off guy, just off a Craigslist or something, good luck. Right. It really depends on who you get.
Right. I think for me, I would always suggest that you get a licensed mechanic, especially if you got a friend or something. If you have to pay him some money, fine, pay him. Just like I think Brett mentioned as well. Get the guy to come down there. If they don't allow you to test ride, never mind. At least let him start up the bike and walk through it. You'll be able to, tell whether it's whatever's done to that bike is cosmetic, right? Because then you can't see what's going on with the bike. By starting it up as an experienced or a licensed mechanic, you'll be able to tell at least, if there's anything potentially could be wrong with it. Just taking off the seat, checking the batteries. Listening for dings and pings and stuff from the engine. I think that would help a lot if you're talking about pre-owned.
Yeah.
Right. I've been pretty lucky in the sense that the pre-owns that I got were from dealerships, right? And they were not from individuals. So I know well enough they have a service history, and I know well enough that Lemon Law covers it. Plus, they have a warranty on it as well. So I know that if anything goes wrong, I will take it back. So
You got Lemon Laws there as well, have you?
Yes, we do.
Yeah.
The moment you trade in the bike, or if you're selling a bike, a Lemon Law goes into play. They're pretty strict about it here, which is good, right? Because otherwise, if you have no experience and you decide you don't want to get up,
it can cost you big time.
Exactly, and if things you don't know, if you don't know well enough, and you can't tell even after starting the bike if there's anything wrong with the pistons, the primary chain, and what have you, if you've never done any wrenching in your life, then you won't be able to know what the right thing is. You know, then warranties and lemon laws come into play. So in a sense, it's good to be able to just get it off a dealership. They will definitely have pre-owned bikes, those especially that have that do test rides, right? It's not a lot of them. I know initially we had one very big dealership that was selling all the big Japanese bikes and everything else. But they said, no, you can't have a test ride. You take it off the showroom and we'll just give you a warranty and lemon law, which is fine, right? Which is fine as well. So I'm not sure what it's like in Australia. What's it like in Australia?
Basically the same as you, but test ride, it's not a problem.
Okay.
There's no dealerships here that would say you can't test ride it.
Yeah, same here. We can test ride anything.
Yep. No, they encourage it, and well, I mean, I've got a dealership just down the road, and I'm very good friends with them because I've been connected with them for years. And you know, you go in there and they'll offer you 2 or 3 bikes to try. You know, test riding is not a problem at all. But the lemon laws here even go through to as far as a private seller. I don't know if they go that way with you there, Fletch, but here, if you sell a bike privately and it end up developing an issue within, I think they give you 7 days or 5 working days. If it develops some kind of issues, you can just take it back and get your money back. And if they won't give you your money back, well, then you got a court case.
Okay, it's 3 months here.
3 months.
On a lemon law. Yeah, 3 months on the lemon law, because they know that well enough 7 days is not going to cut it. You know, chances are you get a bike from someone, and you take it out. You may not be riding it every day, so you can't be riding it 7 days a week to see really if something happens, because you know the only way to know will be if you ride it all the time, right? 7 days, I think it's a bit too short.
Yeah, and if anybody's in a position where you can't take it out for a test drive, I would recommend you start it up and run it for more than 10 minutes, 10 to 12 minutes. Just even let it idle, because there's a lot of additives in oil that you can put in that's really good initially, but once it's fully warmed up, you really hear it. And if you ever want to test a clutch on a bike, what you do is you put it in 4th gear, because that's generally 1-to-1 ratio. With the front brake jammed on hard, just try and ride off as normal. If you can get the clutch right the way out and she fully stalls, then all your clutch plates are on the money. If you can get that clutch out and the engine's still running, you've definitely got bad clutches.
The clutch plates, right?
Yeah,
you're absolutely correct. Yeah, so those are things interesting to look at.
And if anybody's buying an automatic car, the best test to do is a reverse stall test. Put your foot on the brake, put it in reverse gear, and give it a real lot of foot. Because if anything's going to let go in a transmission, it's reverse first.
Yep.
Well, there you go. Kev, what about you?
Just off topic there, but you know.
Yeah. No, but you're correct. I mean, to me, these are bikes, with the exception of some of the touring bikes, they do have reverse gear. In the case of the Spider, they do, right?
They do. Yep.
They do. So that's a good test to do as well if someone decides to buy a pre-owned or brand new.
And to test your
Spider.
electrics. Testing your electrics, you start it up and take off the positive terminal on the battery. The bike should run. If the bike stalls as soon as you take off the positive lead, you know your alternator's not charging or your voltage regulator's dead.
I think I'm just going to get Kev along. Rolly on all my future bike purchases, you know. Anything else? This is... All right, mate. Tell me what to do now. Come on, put him on the camera or something. Hey,
what is he doing here?
I don't know. I thought I was up with the tricks.
Yeah.
He swapped out his battery.
He's got no sound.
No sound, mate.
Now we got no. You need a microphone, man.
Hello,
when
testing.
I
1, 2,
battery,
3.
I have to move the camera, then it just gets all funky. So.
Hey, get us some audio.
Is that me?
Karaoke going on. Kev, what would you suggest? And what's it like in Canada in terms of lemon law and warranties?
Apart from being cold.
Yes. There is some kind of a lemon thing about they have to disclose if there's been an accident, and if bikes. A lot of times, if a bike's been in an accident, you can't you can't.
Sorry, I just read Outback's thing.
What did he say?
If you have tires on the bike, you need to test them out first. If you burn out and explode, they weren't good tires.
Absolutely. That's awesome.
Yeah, but
sorry, Kev.
Yeah, no. Here, if you've got that, like, I've only ever bought bikes at a dealership, so like I've never had any issues. And I bought a couple of used ones and a couple of new ones, and so when I bought them used, they still give you some sort of a warranty, you know, saying like basically, if something catastrophic happens, let us know. But I never have. I mean, the most trouble I ever had with a bike was a new Honda that I bought. I bought a brand new Interceptor years ago, and I had the flasher, like for the signal, it caught on fire.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh my god!
It caught on fire. I was on my way home, and I pulled over and put the fire out, and then I thought, okay, now what the hell do I do? And it wouldn't start then, and it was the
oh, that's not normal.
He's the boss.
and it was the one of the fuses had gone. Something was wrong. Anyway, I slammed a new fuse in, and I drove it to the Honda dealership, and they fixed everything under warranty. Like, it was all
right.
covered. It was no big deal. But
that's cool.
But it was something they'd had a problem with that bike. So they knew about it when I came in and said, I had trouble with my signals. They said, and did the handlebars catch on fire? Yeah.
Oh my god. So in choosing a new bike, is mileage versus condition an issue? Which would you look at first?
I would look at condition.
Yeah, mileage doesn't denote a terrible a lot.
No.
Like even the bike I have now, it had fairly high miles as far as buying a used bike, but the condition was just outstanding.
Right.
So the guy who when I bought it from the salesman, he said, I'm going to show you something. He said, I'm not supposed to show you this, but he showed me all the records, and the guy had done absolutely everything that was supposed to be done from day one. And he said, this guy was just such a fuck pot with the bike. Like, he always kept it clean and did all the maintenance. And he was a guy who went on long trips. So it had more miles.
Sure.
He had taken it all the way down, down in the States and all over the place, gone out west and all that sort of stuff, down to California and back. And yeah, so it gets a few more miles. But I think if anything, that's easier on a bike than if you have high miles and you're only driving in the city.
Yep.
Right.
Highway miles are like nothing, dude. I mean,
one analogy to that is you could buy normally like rental cars. They keep them for very short mileage to turn them over because the value's best.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you could have a rental car that's only done 15,000 kilometers that's had the absolute crap thrashed out of it.
No one treats a rental car nicely.
No, they treat it like a rental car.
Yeah. Condition is a really good teller, and looking in the sneaky places is probably the best if you're looking for condition.
Up the ass.
Well, I don't know about.
I was waiting to say something.
Yes,
I'm allowed to do that. I won't get demonetized. So
you could probably finger the pipe, I suppose.
Oh yeah. Okay, so I started something here. Yeah. No,
this guy Paul's not on right now.
I know. It's like,
Paul would have a good analogy for that.
But I think you're absolutely correct. I think to qualify, condition doesn't mean that it looks beautiful, right? We're talking about things running, and we're talking about the engine, and Kev is right. I think it's good to be able to look at the service history, right? If you don't have a service history, you say, oh no, I just took it to a bloke down the road. That's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
Right? And one of the things I always look at, and I think the guy that buys my bike is going to be super happy, not because I go to the dealership and have it done all the time. I do it for any chance that I get, besides following the manual, right? You have your regular 4,000, 8,000 running in and so forth. But I always taking it for a basic service before I go on a long ride. It doesn't matter if it's not in schedule. I would just take it because number one, they would have to do all the 11-point checks, tighten up everything that needs to be tightened, check your brake oils, check your tire pressure, and if required, I will normally get them to change my oils anyway, because I'm going to do 1,000 miles whenever I go anyway.
And I don't know about you guys, but I've found with brand new bikes, I've had a couple over the years, they don't actually run in until they've done around about 25,000 kilometers. You know,
as it should be.
Because the power to weight ratio, they're not like a car, you know, where the engine's under load, just cruising, you know. So they take forever to run in. So even a high mileage bike, you know, you could get a 50,000 kilometer bike and go, well, that's basically just run in.
Right.
Yeah, particularly if the oils have been regularly changed, because with a bike, you know, the oil system's air cooled. Well, half the time it's not even that. So to keep the viscosity happy in the oil, regular changes is your best bet.
Yeah, exactly. That's absolutely correct. And to me, again, what Kev brought up, if you have high mileage but riding in the city, you've not run in your bike.
Yeah,
right. You haven't taken it's a good load, right? So that's another thing to consider, right? It's still back to condition, because you still need to take a look and say, oh, I've only rode it from my house to the shop and back. I'm just doing grocery runs all the time, and maybe a regular toy run or whatever little bike show that's around the corner. And you realize that he's just done city rides. So he hasn't gone through the full load and all the gears. He hasn't done a full load across the highway, right, at higher speeds. So then you realize that actually you've not run in the bike.
Yep.
So that's pretty bad.
Unloaded down. I mean,
it's unloaded.
Yeah, like if you've got somebody who's been touring, you know that
dogs going bananas.
They've had it all packed up and they've gone somewhere, right? You know, it's for the most part that's pretty easy miles. You're just on the highway and who's barking?
Yeah,
not my dog.
Sammy, my doggy, Sammy. I think
Sammy.
she's.
So one thing.
What time of day is it there?
Sorry.
What time of day is it there?
It's exactly 11:45 a.m.
A.M.
Yeah, it's early in the morning. It's probably lunch for Raleigh, but it's almost lunch.
I'm 2:18 in the afternoon
After
on
lunch.
Saturday.
Yeah, it's Saturday here too.
Okay.
So one other thing that I would like to bring up on that is because you're talking about how you get your inspections done. I'd be hesitant. Unless I really trusted the guy. I did all the work on my bike myself.
Right.
Ooh. Unfortunately, like my bike though, I have done all the work on it myself. So I'm gonna have to, if I ever try to sell it, find that sucker who doesn't care. But I do all the basic maintenance myself. I'm a cheap ass. That's the nature of it. You know, I'm not digging into engine internals or anything like that. But you know,
oil changes, right?
So oil changes, fluid changes. I mean, all that.
Camshaft changes aren't that hard.
They're not that hard, but I'd probably let Harley or someone else actually throw that one in. Just
good for power.
Great for power. I would love to go stage 2 for mine. Love to. Can't afford to.
It's the same reason why I do all the work on my Spider myself, just because the cost of taking to the dealership is insane to work on those. So
an oil change on one of those things is a whole day affair.
Yeah, it's you're down for a day, maybe a day and a half just for that.
Wow.
It takes me probably, if I do it myself, maybe like 2-3 hours, because like so many other plastics and stuff you got to take off takes more time than anything else.
And if like my Harley, the first time I did the three hole change, I think it took me like 4 hours because first time.
Right.
I think I was able to do it on my bike last year with all three in about an hour, just because you kind of get in that routine, working, you know what the torque specs are, you know what all that is, and you know it's for what I pay in oil for a 3 oil change to do it myself, which is like about $60. That's just maybe an engine oil change at the dealership. So things like that.
$90 per here for an oil change.
What's that?
How much?
90.
Is it synthetic at least?
Nope.
I get a what's called a full service done on my bike every time I take it in for a service, and that's 4 new plugs on both bikes. New plugs, oil filter, oil, air filters washable, 1 or 2 other checks and squeaks and stuff, and that's $295.
I mean, that's not terrible for all that to be done, I guess, but
no, it's not too bad.
Like, I know some of the other bikes that I've been looking at as like the second bike, some of them do require a yearly service no matter the mileage that you put on, like the Ducatis, for example. So I know if I went with a bike like that, I am shelling out $400 to $500 just for a basically a yearly service to change out the fluids, because those things are a pain in the ass, kind of like your Spider, to get the plastics off, then 2, you actually have to get into everything.
It'll cost you more than that because you'll have to have 2 of them, so you can have one to work on while the other one's broken.
I'll still have my Dyna. I'll still have my Dyna. The Dyna never needs an oil
you
change
have
anyway.
you're always fixing one, and the other one you can ride. And then
Exactly. That's why I rode my wife's Sportster today, because I'm about to put mine up on the jack and start working on it. So I had to make sure hers is operational so I could have something to ride.
That's one thing about the Japanese bikes. You know, they really are good that way.
Yeah.
I've had a number of Hondas, and they go and go and go and go and go and go and go.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I agree.
I think my next bike, it's not going to be Ducati. I really do like the Kawasaki Z900 RS. Oh, it's just classic styling with modern technology and Japanese built.
Reliable.
Go the 14.
Reliable speed.
Go all out and go the 14.
Go to 4. They don't make the 1400 in that style bike.
No, so you get a ZX14 instead.
I mean, I'll probably die either way on it. So,
well, this is it. So you might as well go and have fun.
might as well go out really quick, huh?
Yeah.
No chance of survival. Let's just get rid of all chances.
Exactly. I think we're pretty lucky, or I consider it lucky here in Singapore, because we all live in apartment buildings. We don't have garages, so we have no choice but to go into the dealership or shops that can do the oil change for you. So I know well enough that nobody does it on their own, not because they can't do it. They just don't have the space to be able to keep all that equipment.
Are there no property owners? Like, people have.
There are.
Oh, there are.
Yeah,
okay.
but there are. But the problem is that the property owners here that own motorcycles are few and far between.
Gotcha.
That's really weird. They prefer to just drive their big fancy cars. It's more a luxury. I mean, it's more of a status kind of thing to be able to drive a Porsche or a Ferrari or whatever than having a Harley or a BMW or a Ducati.
I drive them every day. I don't think it's luxury. It's just they're Matchbox, but
the Hot Wheels one, right?
Right.
Yeah. The Funko ones.
Yeah.
Even the bobbleheads, and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, but to me, we're lucky in that sense. So I know that for a fact they all have a service history, so that's good. But the day that we go to another place, then we would have to make sure that we know what we're doing. Even if it's done, like say in your case, Brett, right? You done it all yourself. So if I had,
I don't guarantee it was done correctly either.
Oh no, I'm sure it is.
It's held in by lock. It's held down by Loctite. That's all that's holding it together. Is a bunch of blue Loctite. It's the only reason it's still running.
I was going to say, I hope you're using the blue.
The red.
I used the red. Oh no, it's never coming off.
Mind you, some bikes are fun to do a service on. They're not a headache at all.
Harleys are really easy to work on. I don't know if you've done any of your oil changes, Kev, but everything is right there underneath.
You know what? I could, and I have loads of space to do it.
You have a huge garage.
I have a huge garage, and it's heated.
Mine's not. I'm freezing.
Well,
how dare you say stuff like that?
I have the garage on the house. I have a 2-car garage on the house, but then I've got the 5-car garage behind the house.
Ooh.
Yeah. That's where you keep the Ferrari, right?
Now
He's got
I'm
the
jealous.
castle.
Now I am jealous.
It's the Palace of Solitude, right?
Yeah, it's
Fortress.
The fortress of 70. So I keep getting
my man cave. But it gets filled up because everybody I know wants to store their cars out there. So yeah. So right now, like last year, I had 2 cars out there. This year, I told the nephew he couldn't bring his vet out, so I've got just my brother-in-law's BMW is out there, and my house trailer.
Do you charge them rent?
Yeah, sure.
I don't.
That's pretty accurate, actually.
And you said I don't many times there.
I know. Yeah, it sucks. Well, because see, when we first moved out here, I was advertising and selling. Look at him; he's a judge now.
do.
I used to advertise space for motorcycles, and I charged them $1 a day. And for the first couple of years we lived out here, I had like 5 to 7 bikes out here. Well, $1 a day, that's pretty decent.
Sure.
Yeah. $30 a month, good deal for them, good deal for me. Doesn't take up very much space, you know.
Right.
I like bikes instead of cars because cars take up too much space.
Right.
Right now, we had to put my folks in a home, and so I've got my dad's boat in the car garage and my boat in the car garage, and so now my truck is sitting outside. I got all this garage space, and I got my truck sitting outside because I got my brother-in-law's car in my shop and my bike out there and everything else. You know, you fill up the space. It happens.
If there's ever a first world problem, I think you just nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got my 2 boats. I got a Beamer in there.
I know.
My truck has to sit outside.
It sucks.
Man, it's all about choices.
That sucks about your folks, though, dude. I'm looking forward to that.
To hear that, man.
Ever, so.
Yeah, it's no fun. I mean, they're in a really nice place. It's like an apartment type deal, but
right.
But yeah, it's tough because they went from a really big house to that, and so there's a lot of stuff my siblings and I are getting rid of. So that's what I'm in the middle of doing right now. It sort of sucks.
Is it assisted or actual like nursing home?
It's assisted living. They have there's a dining room. It's a really fancy place. Like it's really fancy.
That's good. At least they're somewhere nice, and it's not just some nurse doesn't care about you type thing. So that's
where you're staring out a window, looking at a brick wall or something.
Yeah. Well, and they've all got they've got their COVID shots already.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Okay.
My mom gets her first one tomorrow. And
my
grandma's had both of hers, I think, or she's had one, I think. So yeah, it's.
Speaking of that, how is it? How is the situation with everybody all around the place?
How about you, Fletch? How is it for you?
It's okay. I mean, they've really gotten under control. We've got 0 cases.
Beautiful.
Close to a month now. Mostly imported, right? Because people are either coming back or they're coming here for business, and they quarantine these guys. And they all turn out okay. They're rolling out the vaccines first for all the first responders already. That's done, right? All the healthcare people, that's all done. The ministers, obviously, they need to run the country, so they got it done. So I think for the month of March, they're rolling out for all the senior citizens first, right? So all the oldsters and all that. But I'm going to be a bit cautious, though, because we've had cases of people who've had bad reactions to it. So my mom's I think a stage 3 diabetic, so we have to be really careful about that. So I just told her, no, you're home, you've been taken care of, you don't really go out and party at the pubs or something.
She doesn't? She's not a partier?
No.
She does miss her friends and stuff, you know. Just thank God for Zoom. I set that up for her.
Nice.
And Skype, you know, but at the end of the day, and I told her she's got to wait, right, and see what happens, because at the end of the day, there are side effects, not bad ones. People have their arm hurts for a week or something, it's the extreme reactions that a lot of people have gotten that I'm a bit worried about. And these guys are the younger group, right? 40 and below, and they're already getting a lot of
My
bad.
My brother-in-law's an EMT, and he took his second round, and he is like laid up for a week, like healthy. Like I'm not healthy at all, and he is like ripped in shape, all that good stuff. I don't think he ever watches this, so whatever. But but no, like he was out for a week off that second dose. So I don't know. I'll get it too at some point, but I didn't know. I work from home. I don't interact with the public except to go pick up my kids from daycare, and I limit everything. So I'm okay waiting a little bit, but
yeah, I'm like you. I'm not in any hurry. I'll just see how many people die out of this first.
Yeah, same here. My wife's kind of in the same situation. Her doctor pretty much just said just wait because she's already got some health issues. So I'm just kind of gonna see how it pans out here.
Yeah. But Jarvis, it's better to be sore for a week than to actually get the shingles, because I hear that
shingles is bad.
That is really bad.
It is, man.
We're just like in Ontario here. We're in a stay-at-home order for 28 days, and it's coming to the end of the 28 days, and they've just really, like I mentioned earlier, they just really stepped up on the travel. Absolutely no unnecessary travel, in or out. And
at least it's wintertime.
Yeah. Well, up until a week ago, 2 weeks ago, they were still advertising, all the sun flights, to go somewhere.
Wow.
That sort of stuff.
Jeez.
And then
really,
but what was happening to people is they would book these cheap flights and they would go to these resorts, and then they come back and they'd have to stay in a hotel in Toronto, and it was costing them $2,000 to stay there.
Exactly.
Is that for like the quarantine time, the 14-day?
Yeah, at minimum 3 days, and then you have to go go home and be quarantined for the rest of the time. Yeah, it's crazy. It's really expensive. Well, it's expensive because they have guys go in with hazmat suits afterwards and clean the place from top to bottom after everybody's been in there. So it's not like a normal hotel. I don't like it. I'm really I'm not happy about the way it is right now. I mean, I'm afraid to go anywhere. I just stay home all the time. Do anything.
I know.
Wears on you, don't it?
It does.
Yep.
It does. It's I've been home so long. It does.
I know what you mean. I mean, we've been through a lockdown as well, and here it's worse still, because if you ever have a chance to look at the map and take a look at how big Singapore is, and all the borders are locked down. I can only travel within this country, and I'm going stir crazy. Yeah. Because at the longest ride, I'm 20 minutes.
Well, and see, for
wow.
In Ontario, like I could
like
ride,
5 times.
I could ride for 2 days before I rode out of the province if I was to go west.
Wow.
Right.
Like in the province. But we can't leave our province like right now, because if you go outside the province, you have to wait for 2 weeks.
Right. But at least within your province, you still can ride within 2 days, right?
You could.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's snow right now, so you wouldn't.
Okay. No. Yeah, no. So that's a bummer. But in my case, I could do around the island in 45 minutes.
Oh,
that's it. Right. That's right. So I'm getting stir crazy, and even though Thailand, which is the it's about 1,000 miles away, and they've opened up Thailand now. But the problem with that is that if I decide that, okay, fine, I can't ride there, but I just need to get out and go to a resort or something, I would go there, spend 2 weeks quarantine. So I've lost 2 weeks already. Then I would get nothing done, because then I have to fly back. And then when I fly back, I get another 2 weeks. So it's a month of not being able to work. So I get no salary. They're not going to pay you for it because you decide to go on a holiday and get quarantined. If you went there for work, it's a different story. Right? But if you decide to go there for fun, you're not getting paid.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing.
It's just not worth seeing them ping pong balls fly.
Yeah. But then again, Road Rash is special because he rides in the winter, right? You know, hey buddy, why didn't I put a link and you come on in and tell us what riding is like?
Here, I'll back out of here and I'll.
Oh, we got still space, man. We still got space. It's 6 people, man.
Oh, it's okay.
Why not?
I'll let you guys go. I'm a pain.
No. Stick around. Shoot the breeze.
Kev, before you go, tell us a little bit about your Sunday live chat.
Yeah, well.
Oh yeah.
Jarvis Biker and Harley's Diners and Rides, or Harley's Diner Rides is what it is. Harley Diner Rides. The three of us, we all live fairly close together. So we live within about an hour and a half or so of each other. And so we are planning on doing this regularly all winter. And we're doing it on Sunday mornings at 10 o'clock. And it's been a lot of fun so far. We're doing this live thing, and if you guys could come along and check it out, it'd be great. I will. We've been having a lot of fun. We're hoping to have guests and things on. We opened it up last time and nobody wanted to come on, so but you know what, I
never got an invitation.
Didn't. Well, consider this your invitation.
No, I saw you guys. I actually joined you guys on the last one, but I was lying on the back of my, lying on the bed, and then I was on my iMac, so I had no. I was on my Mac Mini, so it didn't have a camera, so I couldn't, come.
Oh yeah, you know what? It's a lot of fun doing these live chats. I do like it. I've been really super happy with the way they've gone, and those other two guys are great. I mean, absolutely great. We all kind of do things a little differently, so we're a good mix, and we all get along really well. So yeah, it's Eastern time. So
if you guys rotate what channel it's on, kind of like Fletch and I do,
we're going to. Yeah, we're starting this week. We're going to be on Jarvis Biker's channel this time. Cool. And we want to do that so that we can, everybody gets the benefits of. Sure. Of having the watch time and all that cool stuff.
It helps.
It does help. And like now I'm getting to the point where I'm getting close. Like I've got 1,000 hours or so to go, and I'm
awesome.
Nice. And I'm at I think 726. So okay. I'm still trying to get to that 1,000.
That's what we're all striving for here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
But yeah, it's been a lot of fun. I'm still really digging YouTube, and I think the big thing for me is it's been so much fun. Like I just love doing it. I've got a couple of install videos that are going to be coming up, so that should awesome. That should be cool. But anyway, This has been absolutely fabulous, guys, and thanks for letting me join in with you.
It's a pleasure, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. And we'll see you later.
See you, man.
All right, man.
Take care.
Have a good one.
Care.
And
Road Rash.
What's
going on, man?
Hey, Dave. How's it going?
Clearest sounding microphone in human history.
Really? Yeah. Is my mic that clear sounding?
There's a little echo, but you're always very clear.
Echo.
Oh, well, I can turn the echo down.
I'll be back. I just heard a loud thud upstairs.
When you're a musician, you tend to have a little bit of gear off to the side, and I kind of have a little bit of gear off to the side. So
that's right.
Our terminology for gear is a bit different to yours.
Yeah, well, I've got I got a USB mixer, and I've got a compressor, and a few other odds and ends that my voice is going through as well. So.
That's awesome, man. How's riding?
It sounds sexy. It does. Sounds good.
Yeah, it does. How's riding in snow, man?
Well, actually, this year we've been really, really lucky. We've only had really 1 or 2 days of snow. This winter was supposed to be a cold one, what they call a La Nina, opposed to an El Nino that we get up in this area. And an El Nino is supposed to be a warmer, wetter winter, where La Nina is supposed to be a colder, snowier winter. But for some reason, that changed. and it's been actually quite warm. We haven't really dipped below 0 or 32 Fahrenheit at all too often. Like, we've been close, but not really that close. Like all this week, it's been like +6 Celsius, about anywhere from 39 to 43 Fahrenheit. So it's like the coldest has been in the morning is like 36 Fahrenheit, so that's about +3 Celsius, give or take. So yeah, it hasn't really been that cold. Been really lucky, but we've had a lot of rain. I've had to do a lot of riding in the rain, so my bike is, had to take the Suzuki off the road because I was having headlight malfunctions. Right, so I had to pull the Harley out, and as much as I didn't want to ride the Harley in the winter, well, now I've broken that cherry, so now I'm thinking about selling the Suzuki. Yeah, so I'm thinking about selling the Suzuki now because it was going to be more the winter bike, and then the Harley would be the summer bike. But now that the Harley's been through all this shit ass weather, it looks like, well, why should I keep the Suzuki? It's I can ride the Harley now in this weather. I'm comfortable with the bike now in the rain and stuff like that. I know what I can and cannot do with the bike, right? So so yeah, I'm really starting to think about selling the Suzuki now. But we'll see what happens. I got to get it fixed, figure out what the problem is with the headlight first, and then it's not a blow-on bulb. It's an internal thing, so I have to get
wiring probably.
Yeah, well, the wiring's fine. Honestly, it's inside the computer. It's a relayer inside the computer. It's something because what's happening is I was having my high beam indicator was coming on my dash, and that would go away and come on even though my bike was in low beam, right? So I'm looking at the switch and I'm like, okay, whatever. But it's flashing on and off and on and off. And then it got to the point where when it started flashing, my headlights started flashing because it wasn't flashing at first. And all of a sudden my headlights would start flashing. And we go high beam, low beam, high beam, low beam, high beam, low beam every time.
Disco.
That's not good.
Yeah. And then it got to the point that every time that the high beam indicator came on my dash, my lights would cut out. I'd have no light. So I'd have to flick my switch from low beam to high beam and back to low beam and then have lights again. But there's also on the Suzuki that's called the flash to pass button, which is just above that.
Yeah.
And so I would keep doing that. And then I was like, oh, why don't I just hit the flash to pass and see if that works? So the light would cut out, hit the flash pass, light would come back on. And I would keep doing that every now and then when it would do that. But it got to the point where neither the high beam, low beam switch or the flash to pass was going to bring the light back on. Now it was like a random when it was going to come back on. And anyways, I was riding home from work one day on my graveyard shift at 6 o'clock in the morning, and it's dark as hell outside. And I'm ripping down the Highway 17, what I call Tar Snake Road, that truck man always drives down, and the lights just cut right out on me in traffic at night. And I'm like, oh my God. And I'm like doing 80 kilometers an hour, almost 100 kilometers, well, so about 50-60 miles an hour down this road. And then my light would come back on and then would disappear and come back on. So I just kind of had to stay behind this. I was following a semi at the time and I could see where he was. Good thing it wasn't freaking raining that day. So I was following him. I got off the highway and I took the road back up to my place. And I was having traffic coming at me. Of course, traffic can't see me, right? I got no headlight, right? So I got to turn on my 4-way flashers now. So I got my 4-way flashers are flashing as I'm riding up the hill back to my house. And so I got home and went to bed and got up in the my morning there and whatnot. And it was just about to get dark. And I went out and I checked the bike, and the lights just didn't come on at all. And I'm like, oh crap. Well, I guess this is it. And had to get on the bike on the 250 and rode down to the freaking insurance place and bought a permit for the Harley for a week and came home on the Harley and drug that thing out and rode that thing to work because I'm not taking transit to work because it's just not for me. So So
bloody hell, a story like this, if you look in the dictionary as to what sucks, I think this wins.
Yeah. If you look at when it comes to both my bikes and the issues I've had with both my bikes, it's like, man, I just can't get a break. So, and I bought both those things new, man. Like the Suzuki was brand new. The Harley, I brought that brand new. I just took the Harley in. I just had to get the right rear shock replaced. I had to get the brake light switch replaced, and now I got to get the clutch switch replaced.
Jeez,
so I pull in the clutch and I can't start the bike in first gear or anything like that. I have to pop it in the neutral and start the bike. So if I stall the bike in the intersection, then I got to fumble to get the bike in the neutral, hit the start. hard.
Yeah,
to take off.
what a pain in the ass.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the issues I'm having with that. And with the Harley, all of a sudden I'm riding home and I got a little red light on my dash. When you have the alarm, you get that flashy light on your speedometer. They're telling you your alarm's going when you're not on the bike. Well, that went solid on me, and I'm like, oh, what the hell is the problem here, right? And I couldn't figure out what the problem was. So the day I was taking the bike in to get the shock replaced, I was actually standing off the bike. That most times I swing my leg over it and fire it up and push it back and then roll out and take off. So I'm standing there and the bike's warming up and I'm looking at the rear of the bike and I'm like, gee, those tail lights sure look kind of bright.
Yeah, that's a brake switch.
So I pushed down on the rear brake and they don't do nothing. I grabbed the front brake, they don't do nothing. I'm like, so that's what that little red light means.
It's a brake switch, common.
Yeah. Yeah. So at least it was all warranty repair, so it was all free of charge. I didn't have to pay or anything to have that repaired, but they have to order in a clutch switch for me. So I'm waiting for them to get that in so they can bring the bike in for another warranty repair. So
it's good that you brought that up, though, because actually our topic is about advice to the new rider and safety and all that. So you bought 2 new bikes. What would you advise either a new owner or another person that's going to go out and get another bike?
Find out what day it was built on.
No
Friday the 13th.
No Friday.
Yeah, no Wednesday to Friday. If you can get it on a Tuesday, then you might be
Tuesday is the ultimate. Yeah. Monday's RDO.
Yeah.
Hey, Willie G, when was this made? Which day, man? I don't care about the year. Which day, man?
Yeah, what day? I know. Yeah, exactly. We don't care about years now. We just want to know what day of the week and what month it was in now.
Yeah.
But other than that, what would you be advising them?
Do your research.
Okay.
Basically, if just don't go what every Tom, Dick, and Harry says to buy, right? Like if one person goes, well, that's my favorite bike, that's the bike you should buy. Hey, no, just do your research. Basically, as everyone always says, when you get off your bike and you're walking away from your bike and you turn around and look at it, then that's the bike for you, as they like to say, right? So that's definitely the way I see it too. It's just you got to do your research, and what's sexy to you may not be sexy to somebody else, and it's the same with a woman, right? Or a car.
Absolutely.
What's sexy to you is. So definitely do your research, like look at the bikes and then, narrow it down to the bike you want. Right. But if you're a new rider and stuff, just don't go stupid and go get a big old Gixxer or whatnot, something.
You don't have to go smelling any seats or anything.
Well, yeah,
you could,
unless you like the smell of new leather, but yeah, but yeah, you definitely want to, just do your research and get the bike that you want, don't second guess what you want, don't have somebody tell you, oh, I should get this bike or you should get that bike, like before I got the Harley and I posted a picture of it, you'd be surprised at how many people comment was, oh, you should go look at Indian. And it's like, well, I don't find Indian sexy. I think they're the most ugliest bike on the road. Sorry, but they're just ugly, man. They don't appeal to me, right? And it's all about appeal, man. Like it's the bike that when I first started looking at bikes, for some reason the Sporty just always kind of stood out. Like even the Dyna, I don't really find the Dyna that appealing. Like I own a Dyna, but when you look at a Dyna, to me it just didn't seem that appealing. I don't know, it's just like the look of the little tiny gas tank that's got that classic look, sorry buddy, both of you guys, but I don't know, it's just, to me it's just not it's never been the my go-to bike, right?
Yeah. Well,
I'd own one. Don't get me wrong. I'd fucking own one. If they came out with a new Dyna, the way Harley is retooling themselves and they want to go back to the classic ways and they revamp that frame and everything like that.
I don't see them coming back ever.
But yeah, we know that's not gonna happen. But,
we can hope. We can dream.
Yeah.
You brought up a good point though. Like you said, you don't find Indian sexy and stuff like that, which that's the thing. And like you said, you don't care for Dynas, you like your Sportster, stuff like that. it's your opinion, and it's your opinion that counts because it's
Exactly.
your money.
It's your money that's buying.
It's your
it,
time
not
that
someone. It's not
everything.
someone
Right.
else's money. If someone is going to buy your bike for you, well, then yeah,
Sure,
maybe you'll
maybe.
take that bike, right? But but if they're not making that monthly payment and paying for the insurance every year and registration and blah blah blah, fuck off, man. That's the bike I want.
Here.
There you go, man.
Sorry,
I
if
I
if
would
the
ride
guy-
a Vespa if someone paid it for me, I guess.
Mhm.
No,
yeah.
maybe not. Maybe not.
You know, the bike I'd like to have would be a Road King Special, man. I just think that bike is sexy as hell, right? But that's
gorgeous.
my opinion, right? You know, I just
Yeah.
love them Road King Specials.
Yep. No, I agree. I mean, to me, it should be the bike that if you're passing by a window store and you can see your reflection in it, or your reflection of anything, and you think you look good on it, and you think like you look like Batman, fine. That's a bike that you want to own, right? But if you're gonna ride it because someone else says, and then you look like a dog, right? Then no.
Well, fuck
You know?
them. Who cares what they think, man?
Exactly.
It's not what you ride, man. It's like, what was the saying that I came up with? It doesn't matter what you ride. It's same wind, same grin.
Yeah.
Yes, I saw that.
The Blue, Black, and Doyle had a good video.
Apart from a quarter mile time, but anyway.
Yeah.
Blue, Black, and Doyle had a what is a biker video or something like that today. And
Yes.
I think my comment is, dude, if you have 2 or 3 wheels, if you have no airbags, no doors, you're a biker. I mean, that's all there is to it. So,
It's just,
like I'm not one of those people who like will look down on a trike or a spider or anything like that. I think anything that puts you in the same element of danger that I'm in, hey, we're
that's
all
just
the
it. Every
same.
time you swing your leg
power to
over
you,
it, man, we're all in the same category of danger, right? Doesn't matter what you're on, You can be going 5 miles an hour and still die on a bike,
Yeah.
I fell down the stairs the other day and I wasn't even on a bike, so
Yeah.
that could have killed me. So that actually
Exactly right.
bad.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, to me,
Okay, that's a story. I want to hear that one.
It's actually it's a good story. It takes a couple seconds, but dog was coming in. Dog had bloody paw, so she's getting blood all over the house.
Right.
So I was rushing her downstairs to her kennel.
Yeah.
Our stairs are hardwood, and I have new socks.
You almost went for
Can see where this is going.
So I took steps 1, 6, 7, and 8. The others. And then it gets worse though, because when that happened, that scared the dog who was going downstairs with me. So she darts back upstairs, tracks blood all over the house.
Yeah.
She finally lays down, but I can't get her to go anywhere because she's scared. So I pick up an 85-pound boxer, walk down the stairs in the same stupid socks very slowly, and finally get her in there. My wife pulls into the garage, and she's like, I just talked to you 20 minutes ago. What happened? And I was like, a lot.
see, the thing is that I was thinking that you were just getting ready for her to come back, and you're doing the Tom Cruise risky business thing in your underwear.
Well,
and then
there you go.
you're going for kid number 3, but
that ain't happening. No,
I don't know.
Nope. There's
Get all frisky there with you in your
can't
underwear
happen.
and socks.
Nope. It ain't happening. Nope.
It's all right, Chop. We don't want to know the mating habits of the Chop.
Just ain't happening. 2 is plenty.
Oh yeah.
Well, 1 is enough for me, man.
Yeah.
No, two's a good number. Two's a good number.
I'm hoping they end up playing with each other and I can just go ride.
It might take a little while.
About 13 years. Yeah, I know.
Yeah. Yeah.
But probably all this advice you've been taking all day or all morning is going to convert to your kids when they grow up and they say, Daddy, I want a motorcycle.
Oh, I asked my kid today because he was watching one of his little guys on YouTube that he watches was doing a motorcycle video. I was like,
Right.
Do you want to ride a motorcycle? He's like, yeah, but a bike first. I'm like, yeah, We'll teach you about it first. We won't go straight to the 150 Honda for you. We'll ease you into it. So.
Black Phoenix, what about you? Is your kid going to get a motorcycle?
I don't know yet. He's talked about it, but then
right.
You know how kids are, they just kind of veer off to a different path, and then he'll mention it again. I'm like, okay, keep mentioning. If it's consistent and you keep mentioning it, then I'll take it a little bit more seriously. And
what you do is you get a dirt bike. Start running around the dirt bike, and then the kids go, hey, now that's kind of cool, going over jumps and doing wheelies and stuff, right?
Yeah, exactly. Then they could turn into the kid from the Karate Kid, the guy who I think was the hero, the blondie. He always rode the dirt bikes.
That's right. No, but here's the thing. I think a lot of people have said so. I personally agree. I think Matt Laidlaw has said it as well. All the dirt bike riders are the ones that have the best experience, that should be able to handle a bike, and that's probably one of the advice I would give to people.
Oh yeah, the more dirt experience you got, it doesn't accumulate when you go onto the road because it's two totally different riding.
Exactly.
But you still are. When you're on the dirt, your brain, you have to think fast because there's all.
You're very sharp.
You have to you got to make sure that the last thing you want to do is crash. But
you learn,
when you're on a
to
street
react
bike, it rides different when you're on a street bike. But the two are so different, but yet they're so similar. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Because then you learn how to
trees.
yeah, exactly. Right. So I mean, you think on your feet. You have to learn to think on your feet when you're riding dirt bikes off the trail, and you'll never know what's in store for you. I've known I've had intentional crashes while riding my dirt bike, because you don't bother just checking out the route. You just gun it, right? At 18, you don't give a shit. You gun it, right? Then you get off a gully, and then you say, "Oh shit!" Then you just toss the bike, and then you decide where to go from there, right? And then at the end of the day, you learn how to handle the corners and turns and a slide. Because at the end of the day, you're going to have a slide whether you're on the road or you're off the road. Your tires will slip. So at least what are you going to do, and how do you react to that? I think dirt bike riders has the best experience, and I think everybody should go through it. I think most of us all have done it anyway. So
I've had my tires slip on me many times. It's just the main thing is just don't panic.
Yep.
Just let the bike do what it does. That was one thing they taught us in riding school. Is just let the bike do what it does.
Yep.
It'll correct itself, right?
Like the first time you lock up the rear and you're just kind of sliding.
Yeah.
I was glad that was a thing that we did in the MSF course was emergency braking and stuff like that. It's like, I want you to slam on your brakes so you know what this feels like, because these were non-ABS brakes, which is that's what I don't have ABS.
Yeah, neither do I.
And so you just kind of
you lock up. You ever lock up your front tire on your bike yet?
No.
I've locked up my front tire on both my bikes now.
I've grabbed too much front and had bad things happen, but
luckily I've never had bad things happen. But prior to getting on a motorcycle and riding on the streets, I always rode a mountain bike everywhere. No matter, that was my main means of transportation. Just get on my mountain bike. It didn't matter, rain, snow, fuck whatever, and city traffic, bushes, whatever. So I've wiped out a tremendous amount of times on that bike, and I got all kinds of scars and bruises and no broken bones, thank God. But and pavement does hurt. But it's just. When you even as a kid, I remember what's it like to lock up your front tire? And I'd have when I got my first bike that had handbrakes, and I'd lock up that front tire and I'd hit the sand, because if you do it in your back tire, you're like, skid forever. Let's see how far I can skid with the front tire. And you lock up that front tire, and all of a sudden the bike zips out from underneath you, and your head fucking hits the pavement, and you're like, and you're running home crying, "Mommy, I'm bleeding!" And
I told you that was too dangerous for you.
Yeah, exactly. But that's kind of how you learn, right? And
exactly.
And I used to do that all the time as a kid, and I did all kinds of stupid things as a kid on a bike. So hopefully I've got all my stupid out of me now. But I've had, like I said, I've locked up my front tire twice on the Harley and on the Suzuki. And it was always in city traffic when all of a sudden a car in front of me would just pound the brakes really hard, and you just instant reaction, and you just grab a little too much front brake, and you can hear it actually skid go right, and then you kind of let go, and you're like, whoa, because your front end just dives really hard, right, when you hit the front brakes too hard. So, and you just learn to let go. It's just the thing is, don't panic, right? Just never panic. You know,
exactly right.
In a slide, just encourage it.
Yeah, in a slide.
Yeah,
that works. You just
I had a
power it
pucker
up.
moment last winter. I was riding
Do a
to work.
drift.
I was riding to work, and it was a bit windy. It was raining out, and I come around this left-hand corner. It's a long sweeping, not that long, but a bit of a long sweeping left-hand corner. And I don't know if I hit the yellow line or if there's a little bit of oil just as the wind gusted, but my back tire, it slid quite a distance, and man, that was an instant pucker moment, right? Luckily I wasn't going that fast. You know, if it's one of those kind of rear tire slides that it could have been a high side for sure, but luckily the roads were wet, so it just kind of slid, and it just came back. I didn't panic. I just let the bike do what it did, and then it came back on me, and I was like, oh geez, and then just kind of blew it off and kept going.
You don't go rigid. You don't go rigid.
Just let the bike do what it does, you know. Just never be rigid. Just even my motorcycle school, our instructors always told us never grip onto the handlebars really tight. Just hold on to them, you know, just be relaxed and just limber and let the bike. That's what they always said, just let the bike do what it does, right? Exactly. It'll always correct itself. If you let it do what it does, it'll correct itself.
Yep. And that's a good point there, Road Rush, because even on the windy days, if you're gripping those handlebars super tight, it's so weird. It's like if you just relax and loosen the grip just a little bit on those windy days, you find you have so much more control. It's just
the wind's gonna blow you around no matter what, right? You're on a bike. Exactly. There's the cars get blown around, trucks, big rigs get blown around, right? Big rigs get blown on their sides and stuff in the way. Just let it blow you around. Just let the bike do what it does, man. Just don't panic, don't freak out. Exactly. And that's one thing I find, like riding in the winter and riding in the rain and stuff like that. A lot of people will refuse to ride in those kind of conditions, right? But the thing is, if you're a summertime and all of a sudden you're out on the prairie and you got no shelter, no cover, no nothing, and all of a sudden the winds pick up and it starts pissing rain, what are you gonna do? Pull over? Right? So if you get all that seat time and that kind of weather conditions and stuff, that when that does happen to you, when you're on a prairie, because we know the prairies are flat and the winds and rains can be like Kansas, you're prepared for it, right? You're just like, oh, okay, it's just another day of riding in the winter, right? And you just go on with your day, right? I've seen people, they'll pull under an overpass kind of thing. Oh, it's raining way too hard, way too windy. I'll just sit it out. And 6 hours later, they finally get to continue.
6 hours later. Black Phoenix, I think you had a video out. I remember watching about road and traffic awareness when riding a bike, right? I think you had one.
Yeah, I did one a while back.
Yeah, so let us know a little bit about your take on and especially on the Spider, because it's a different kind of machine as opposed to us, right?
Right.
Yeah, you have to be careful.
You guys can pick where you are in your lane. You get the left, right, center where you want to be. The Spider, you're in the center. I do kind of, depending on the road, if it's wide enough, I'll kind of pick where I want to go. If I want to ride the line or be more to the side, but I move so people can see me. That's pretty much my primary reason for not being totally in the center sometimes. Yep. Even then, we know you're not always going to be seen regardless of what you ride. So
you got to give space to vehicles in front of you that are bigger than you are and can create a blind spot to the oncoming traffic. So like I said, there's one thing that I took away from my MSF course, and I did a video on that, is understanding the blind spots in front of you and when other drivers can't see you, and what can cause blind spots, and how to put yourself in a position so you're not in a blind spot for other drivers, picking the right lane to be in your lane, what side, the left side or the right side. If you're in the left lane, always riding the right side of the left lane, for the cars in the other lane can see you in their driver's side mirror and stuff like that a lot easier, so they're not pulling over in front of you and stuff like that, right? And then it's like having a big pickup truck in front of you, like a Dodge, Ford, Jimmy, or GMC, or whatever it may be, with a canopy, or you know, if that truck's in front of you and you're right on the back end of that vehicle, or within at least 4 or 5 feet, people that are driving in the opposite direction are not going to see you that easily. You got this big old blind spot that you've created for yourself, right?
Yeah.
You know, so it's always good to put yourself in a safe position where other people can see you, because as it is on a motorcycle, people don't see it, you know, as it is, right? So
actually, that brings up a thing that I just remembered. I don't know what it's like in terms of regulations, but here in Singapore, all motorcycles have to have their headlights on, day or night.
Yeah, it is here too. It's same here.
Right? Same
Headlights and tail
in
lights.
Australia.
Yeah.
Okay,
they're wired that way. You can't turn them off.
Exactly. You're right. They've done it. They've done it that way. Even the older bikes, they insist that it goes in to be wired on all the time. Even if you have an on and off switch, no way it's working anyway.
Yeah.
You just get high beam.
Although I watch videos from US with the US riders, and it appears that the high beam is on all the time.
Well, it's either that or they just leave it on.
Do that.
Or either they leave it on or their low beam is burnt out, so they got it on high beam.
Okay. No, I wasn't sure whether it was a legal requirement to run with your high beam on.
No, it's illegal. It's just basically I think it's a worldwide standard that all motorcycle lights have to be on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just added a bunch of LED lights to the Spider too, just for added security,
visibility. Yeah,
visibility.
that's
and
important.
I got the underglow for at night, and I've passed cops with it, whatever. They don't care. Like, they really don't. I tell people all the time, just light your bike up. Like, they're not going to bother you.
As long as you're not throwing red and blues on your LEDs,
that's just it. That's the same here in Canada. You can't have red or blue light, but if you got a green light or purple light or whatever, just something that's
whatever makes you stand out, right?
Yeah,
right.
I mean, I'm thinking of you know how you get the whole, like, the racing bodysuits, right, for riding. I'm thinking about sort of starting up some sort of business of making one of some, like, number 10 sexy model, and you just wear that. So because that'll stand out. People will go, wow, look at that.
Sure would.
You know,
get your little
there's
McConaughey suit. There you go.
Like a onesie.
Or you know what you could do? You could just have
as well.
Yeah, exactly. You know what you could do? You could just put your stereo on and have Right by Fred go, you know. I'm too sexy for my bike.
There's a YouTuber here in Vancouver, and he goes by the name Mr. LightTube or Mr. Light something. But anyways, he has his helmet lit up.
I've seen those.
Oh yeah,
yeah. He's got a kit that you can put these strips. On
you can put your brake light and indicators on your helmet. Yeah.
But this one here is it's a kit that he has that he sells.
Tron.
Like Tron.
Yeah, kind of like Tron, exactly. I can't remember what it's Mr. Light something, but he's an actual Vancouver YouTuber, and he's actually got like I think somewhere close to that 100,000 subscribers. But I don't watch him or anything like that.
It's trending. Yes, I see that. I see that he has
Mr.
one
Light Mode. That's what it is. Mr.
Light Mode. Yep,
that's the one. Yeah. I think there are a couple of Ruroc sells one as well that has the HUD and brake lights. I don't know how they do it, whether it's Bluetooth enabled or something, because you can't be having wires.
You need to go to the toilet.
No, I'm standing. So.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right.
You let the blood circulate.
Might have been when my kids were small. That's all.
I gotta do a one.
That's it. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
My son's got a helmet that you put a USB charge up into it, and it's got like bands or borders around it that light up. That's pretty cool.
That's cool.
This chair is only good for about 2 hours. Then it's like,
is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. I love the kinky tiger paw sort of print on it. Whatever.
I stole it from my wife's makeup room. So yeah.
I was about to say the chair from the whorehouse in Texas thing, you know, but then again, since you mentioned it's your wife's chair, then no, it's really nice.
She's never been to Texas.
It's good.
Diplomacy plus there, Fletcher.
And it was a good save, wasn't it?
It was very good save. Well, gentlemen, I am out of cigarettes, so I need to go to the shop.
All right.
So I might depart, plus then my afternoon's cruising on.
Right. And I think
awesome
it's time
being with you again.
Thanks for coming. Anyway, I think we need to roll off as well because I can see that the day and the kids have gotten to Brett already.
I don't know.
Right,
I don't know how Black Phoenix looks so awake. I mean,
yeah, I know.
It's almost midnight here. I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
It's a Friday night, right? So it's
Right.
fine.
Hey, it's
you know.
only 8:39 p.m. where I am, so it's still pretty
Right.
good.
I've been up
It's
since
3:09 p.m. here.
4 a.m. It's almost 11 p.m. So it's
Yeah, I've been
like,
up since 4 a.m. myself, and I'll be up till 11, 12.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, thanks guys for coming. I really appreciate all the feedback you've gotten. Right, and hopefully people have picked up enough from this. Once again, thank you very much for joining us. With me, Chopperfett Brett, and myself, Fletch Dyna. The next one we'll let you know will be on Chopperfett's channel, obviously. Right?
To be determined.
To be determined. Life gets in the way sometimes.
Yes,
Right.
right.
The fact that we did this just 2 weeks ago, that's pretty good.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
So,
The fact that we get our things lined up, you know, and the planets aligned and stuff. Anyway, thanks for coming, guys. You do take care. Have a great weekend. This is me, Fletch, and
this is Chopperfett signing out.
take care, guys.
Take care. Take care.
Cheers,
Bye,
all.
guys.